Our regular season finale brings us to the Twin Cities. They've been playing this game for about 128 years, and today, your local Ford dealers presents ACC football, the 98th meeting all time between Wake Forest and Duke, and the Blue Devils, who need a win to become bowl eligible, come to the playing surface of BB&T Field, and Wake Forest, fresh off a thrilling win over NC State last Saturday night, makes their traditional entrance as well. With James Bates, West Durham, you'll meet Rebecca Capel in a moment. Happy Thanksgiving to your friends and family. We hope you've had a great holiday weekend. Well, we get a lot of fun here today, James, and it starts at the quarterback spot for both the Deacons and the Blue Devils.
Nothing but fun if you're a Wake Forest fan. How about the career of gritty, gutty John Wolford? In last weekend against NC State, no exception. I'd say he'd play even tougher today being senior day, but I don't think he can play. Every time out, he plays his guts out. We had him a couple weeks ago against Syracuse, and firsthand we get to see that he uses every single thing he has. And not just his God-given ability, his God-given talents, but everything he has out there on the field with him. They lost Dortch a few weeks ago, who was getting over 30% of the passes. And since then, he's been spreading it around. He gets them in the right situations. He has them in the right plays. And he's very consistent. Yep. And that's going to be key going against a younger Daniel Jones today.
Well, and on the other side, you talk about Daniel Jones, the redshirt sophomore from Charlotte. It's been a little up and down, but last Saturday in the second half, we saw the up.
It was sky high, and that is what David Cutcliffe has been hoping. Early in the year, he had a little sparkle in his eye. It was almost Peyton Manning-ish when he talked about him. They started 4-0, remember, then lost 6 in a row. Played a lot better against Georgia Tech, especially in the second half. In the game, he goes 69% completions, was responsible for 3 touchdowns, 2 of those through the air with 0 interceptions. If he can play like he played, and in turn, that offense play with him, that for once they had Daniel Jones and all of his tools, everybody doing the right things, offensive line blocking for him, and it really was a thing of beauty, especially if you're a Duke fan, to get back on top. Even more beautiful if they can get the win and go bowling at the end of today.
Well, that takes us to Rebecca Capel, because there are some implications here for both these schools in this final regular season game.
That there are, Wes. Wake Forest already has 7 wins this season, so they're headed to a bowl game for the 2nd straight year. But quarterback John Wolford told me this team will not be satisfied with just 7 wins. They really want to get to win number 8, and that is a benchmark this school has only reached 4 times in the regular season in its 116-year history. The latest was in 07. They also did it in 06, but before that, you have to go all the way back to 1979 and 1944. A win today would also give Dave Clawson's team 5 wins in the ACC, which they haven't done in 6 years. For Duke, it is win or go home. They will be shorthanded. Last week, they lost senior safety Jeremy McDuffie, one of their best defenders, to a knee injury. And adding to the drama, guys, it is the de facto state championship. So, bragging rights on the line as well.
Rebecca, thanks very much. And they're filling in at BB&T Field. Duke has won 4 of the last 5. Wake won a year ago at Wallace Wade Stadium. Prior to that little run here the Blue Devils have been on, James, the Wake win streak was 12 straight. But they've been playing since 1889.
I like that state championship on the line.
Mike Weaver will kick it away. Deion Jackson, Sean Wilson are deep. And we're underway from Winston-Salem. And there will be no return. And we'll get our first look at the redshirt sophomore from Charlotte for Duke. But our hardy star to watch is back in the lineup for the Deacons, and that's Houston's Duke Ejiofor.
Glad to have him back, too. He's a fun defensive player, very active. It's a defense as a whole that maybe is taking a little bit of a dip since last year, but they're really starting to play well, and big things for the senior Duke Ejiofor. And that defense much better, obviously, when you've got one of the best rush ends in the league. Start things off right here at the bottom of your screen.
Jones in the gun. And the first give of the game, this is Sean Wilson. He'll get 4 on the carry. And Jesse Bates, the safety, back in the lineup last week against NC State, makes the stop. And Daniel Jones, who, as we said, trended upward in the second half last week at home against Georgia Tech. When you see the details of his redshirt sophomore campaign. 2nd and 6 for Duke. Free play. Yep. Jones slips it underneath, and this is Wilson breaking free. Sean Wilson a first down and out to the 41-yard line before Jabari Williams the stop for Wake Forest.
Number 6, Jabari Williams.
Looked like Wendell Dunn might have gotten an early start.
Defense number 14. That penalties decline. Results of the play. First down.
And it was on Dunn, James.
Wendell Dunn. How about the week he had last week? Bottom right, you're going to see him jump early. Just a step too early. First down nonetheless. Good blocking, by the way, ramming down the field.
Jones a pump. Now in trouble and just going to sail it out of bounds. Pressured by Ejiofor.
Well, expect a little bit more of this here today. Hits on Jones. Hopefully they can keep him up, and it won't be sacks on Jones. He's a big guy. He's a tough guy. You know, you mentioned Jesse Bates being back in the lineup for Wake earlier, and that's key because he's such a valuable tool against these quarterbacks that can tuck the ball and go. Daniel Jones being one of them as Wake showing blitz off the edge here.
Tried to get it to Wilson. Wake Forest broke through. Zeke Rodney, the defensive tackle, big 93, takes him down behind the line, loss of 4.
Penetration. I don't care what scheme you're in. I don't care what you're trying to do offensively. When you allow penetration, you're not going to have a very successful football game, have a very successful day. It was right off the bat going backwards. See if they can get after him here. Showing a 4-man rush, and that's what they'll do.
Duke's under 39% on the year on third down. Jones loads for Chris Taylor, deflected and intercepted. Coming back here along the near sideline, Justin Strnad with the interception of Daniel Jones.
Just defensive play. They know where that route's going to be broken off. Amari Henderson, fantastic job. Off the hands of Taylor, but it's because of the defense of Henderson. And Johnny on the spot knocks it right into his teammates' hands, and it's off to the races.
Second interception of the year for Strnad.
Well, that's just knowing where you are on the football field. That's a very intelligent defense, and we said that quite a few times the last time we had this Wake defense against Syracuse. They know where they belong. They know where they fit into this scheme.
Here's Walford on the keeper. Fumbled the football, and did Washington get on it, or did the Blue Devils pull it out of there? And it belongs to Wake Forest. Boy, Scotty Washington was right in the neighborhood of that for Wake Forest.
These balls, across the college football landscape, you've seen this year, it seems like, too many times guys not recovering fumbles the right way. Scotty Washington does a fantastic job of getting in there, and then you turn. You don't want to land on it. You knock the wind out of yourself, but you land and you curl on fetal position, cover up those points just as if a running back's trying to cover the points.
Watch Kwanzaa 49, and there's Saxton, the injured Blue Devil. He and Washington were battling for it. But Kobe Kwanzaa, sophomore from Connecticut, was the guy that raked it out of there from John Walford.
NC State last weekend, they put the ball on the ground 4 times and lost 2 of those fumbles. And dodging a little bit of a bullet here on senior day is John Walford. Sometimes a little bit too aggressive. Stretch it and get a couple more. We'll get the ball back in a fresh set of downs as we look at the numbers. Look at that. Over 65% for Walford from Bishop Kenny down in Jacksonville, Florida.
He'll keep it again. And fight to the first down and second down. Pick up of 3, James. Joe Giles Harris. He's been a factor for the Blue Devils. Comes in with 96 tackles to lead Duke. 14 of them behind the line.
Had over 100 tackles last year. Giles Harris is a freshman. And this was buddy Ben Humphries there in the linebacker.
Boy, isn't he?
Meeting room, absolutely.
Walford crossing route. Serenade tripped up inside the 5. Kwanzaa got an arm out there to take Cam Serenade down, the redshirt senior from Northern Virginia.
Boy, they're back over the ball. We're going to have to hurry with this replay because they're rolling right now, not just in this football game.
Inside route. Tamari Hines' rampage continues. touchdowns last Saturday against the Wolfpack. And Hines on the board again.
Dave Clawson's offense, led by John Walford. A couple weeks ago, our key to that Syracuse game was holding serve for Syracuse, meaning answer, you have to answer, you have to answer. Well, Duke gave them one early, good field position, and they gave up an opportunity to put points on the board. And it's really early in this football game, but the way Wake has been playing, it may come back to haunt them.
And Weaver's point after good. Well, the Jones interception is cashed in. 4 plays later, Tabari Hines' 5th touchdown catch of the year, and his 4th in a game and a possession. ACC football is brought to you by Honda Generators. We welcome you back to BB&T Field in Winston-Salem. Deacons on the board early off the Daniel Jones interception by Justin Stranad. Wake Forest with the early marker. Now Duke's got to respond here, James. The Blue Devils, 3 of their 5 plays on the opening drive were 0 or negative yards, including the interception.
Duke needs to hold on to this football and put some drives together. It's one thing they did exceptionally well. They won the time of possession battle against a Georgia Tech team last week that had been rolling, and it's not very often can a football team say that, but they were able to win it. They got to control it today.
Ball at the 25, and the Jimmy John's freaky fast play is the interception by Justin Stranad, and then 4 plays later, Tabari Hines continues to be on a tear.
Hines over on the offensive side of the ball, led by John Walford, and defensively Demetrius Kemp, big plays, and guys, talk about momentum. It's these big plays, they start to get contagious. Turnovers. Miami, I think, is a good example here in the middle of this season.
TJ Ramming pick up 7 on first down, maybe 8 to the 33. So Ramming, junior from McEachern High School outside of Atlanta at Powder Springs, goes 7 on the ground.
That certainly helps to open up the playbook. A lot of different things you can do with the defense on their heels after a 7-yard gain on first down for Coach Roper.
Jones, quick throw and a catch made center of the field. Amari Henderson there to defend the ball that was thrown at Chris Taylor, junior from Miramar, Florida, James.
You get those 3rd and longs, and it makes it a lot easier for a defensive play caller here on 2nd and 3. What are you going to do? You're going to stop the run here? You're going to focus on the pass? A nice little completion to move the chains for the first time here offensively for Duke. They really need to get back into a rhythm, even after that big hiccup to start, and get back to the feeling of what it was like at the end of last week's game.
Wilson trying to keep his feet, and he'll break midfield, pick up about 4 on first down. Cameron Glenn, the stop of Sean Wilson, who was everything last week, caught one, ran for one, threw one, James, in the victory over Georgia Tech. And, he and Britton Brown been splitting time most of this season, but Wilson is proved to kind of be on the upswing here a little bit of his own right in the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Plays with a lot of fire, as does Britton Brown. Great guy for him to learn under.
Taylor sneaks down the sideline and close to a first down. James, I want to ask you about this, and not to diminish Britton Brown or Sean Wilson or the competitive nature as we see the catch by Taylor is second here on this drive. The finality of this for Wilson being a senior is different than the finality of this for Brown, right? Who's the younger player.
Well, absolutely. And Rebecca mentioned off the top that win number 6 is still sitting out there, trying to make it to a bowl game, trying not to make this the last game of his Duke career.
Jones with time, and boy, the umpire got in the way of the ball intended for Taylor. And the best maneuvering of the day belongs to Danny Worrell.
Yeah, did it hit? He's like the Matrix. That's Keanu Reeves out there. Slow motion coming right at you. That was pretty good.
Nice job, Danny. Second down, Jones heats it up again inside, and that's caught. Jonathan Lloyd. That's a great grab in traffic. Or is it ruled incomplete? It is ruled incomplete. Oh, Lloyd had made the grab.
Yeah, I thought so too. Again, we saw Hines, or Amari Henderson rather, on the defense earlier. And here's Jesse Bates. Welcome back, Batesy, G. Jesse Bates breaking on the ball and ripping it away and forcing a 3rd down and 10 now.
Duke missed their only 3rd down try. Jones flush to his right. Cuts it loose. What a catch, Lloyd, but he'll be well short of the 1st down. A one-hand grab, it looked like, from our vantage point by Jonathan Lloyd. Jabari Williams there for Wake Forest.
Still a long way to go otherwise. Coach Cutcliffe he's gotten to where he's liking going for it on 4th down. There's the pressure late on Jones, and a little pat on the back. Duke Ejiofor. Good hustle play by 53. Man, it's big for Wake to get him back out there as they try to knock down win number 8. But, you know, over that 50-yard line, it's 4-down territory a lot of times here this season for Coach Cutcliffe.
Jesse Bates has had a couple of returns this year. He'll watch Austin Parker's punt reach the end zone. That'll take us to a timeout. 45-yard punt. John Wolford and the Deeks leading 7-0. They'll start from their 20 when we come back. Well, time for this week's Thanksgiving-themed edition of James Bates's Ford Keys to the Game.
Yes, sir, Duke. They've got to hang on to that football because we've seen already what Wolford and this offense can do. The quick strike, they've got to eat that clock up. And for Wake Forest, stuffing the run. They've got to shut down the run. Duke, you mentioned those 2 backs, Sean Wilson and Britton Brown. They went for 319 against the Georgia Tech defense last week, enabling them to have nice balance and success through the air.
Wolford on the keeper, not much there. Deeper Cagey, the freshman from Baltimore who had the interception last week. Holds John Wolford to a yard.
Looked good after that interception. Big stiff arm.
Yep. 2nd and 9. And Washington falling out of bounds, didn't have it. Ruled incomplete. And very quickly, 3rd and 9. Joe Giles Harris was in coverage. Big play here for Dave Clawson's offense, but also David Cutcliffe's defense, James.
Quick pace, quick snap.
Wolford cannot get away, got banged around. Serenade had an early shot at him and then tripped him up enough to pull him down by the 25.
Well, we talked about discipline on the Wake side. This is discipline in those rush lanes. And if somebody's going to go really wide and they're going to be selfish and try to run without of the framework of what the defense is trying to do, that's when John Wolford can bite you. Guys stay in their rush lanes even though they may not get to that quarterback. They build that wall and they don't give them anywhere to go. That's a big 3-and-out there for Coach Cut's D.
Dom Maggio's first punt of the day. Drives it on ramming. TJ gonna let it hit and roll. And it will go all the way to the shadow of the goal. My goodness. 74 yards before Chuck Wade touches it up at the 1.
How's this? You get a 3-and-out. You feel like you're going to have pretty good field position. We have seen some outstanding punting this year. Logan Coleman. There's Maggio, and he's fired up. He should be.
Hoffrichter, Sterling Hoffrichter at Syracuse.
Yes.
My goodness. Dom Maggio just loaded one up. 74 yards. It's his longest of his career by a long shot.
And the fact that it checks up right there at the goal line, it makes it even prettier. Look at this. From their own paint.
Britton Brown trying to get out of the end zone, and well, they're going to give him the spot just off the stripe.
I don't know. Oh, my goodness.
Grant Dawson led the Wake charge.
Just trying to get a little bit of padding, and a great job of winning the battle up front. Those guys in black. And Daniel Jones doing all he can to help, and that's a good call.
Yeah.
It's a good call. That ball's across the plane, but not by much. Not much at all. Way too close for comfort, and they'll go back upstairs and take a look at this.
So Maggio, by the way, the 74, by the way, is his best of the season. He had an 80-yarder a year ago against Clemson. One want to go that maybe had a little wind at his back that day.
I guess this is our best look at it right here.
Well, remember now it's forward progress here, James.
Well, absolutely, and that's all it has to do is to clear that line.
Well, they got it about right if they put the nose of the ball toward the white, and they did. So the referee today, Riley Johnson.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Second down.
By the way, the replay official was Tom DeJoseph. And then the command center in nearby Greensboro, North Carolina, is headed up by Ted Jackson.
And I think it was Justin Sternad that deserves some credit there. Coming from his linebacker spot, the guy that had the interception on the opening drive by Duke, knocked away by Amari Henderson. But it was Sternad starting with a big game here.
Pretty close. Austin Davis's feet staring on the white stripe as he snaps it to Jones.
Little pistol look here.
Yep. Jones wants to throw. Almost intercepted. Threw it into harm's way. Wake Forest had a couple candidates. Chris Calhoun, the defensive end, had dropped in coverage, 51. Intended for Quay Chambers.
Pressure comes late from Glenn.
Calhoun.
Oh, ball should have been interception.
Yeah. By the way, I wouldn't throw it in the neighborhood of Isang Bassi, the tear that guy's been on, would you, James? A corner for Wake?
Absolutely not. Just a sophomore, too. How about some of these guys, younger guys? Sternad is a sophomore as well. Third down now.
Jones going to cut it loose. Looking deep, ramming in stride, couldn't hang on. Amari Henderson in the coverage for Wake Forest. Wow.
He got time. He hasn't had time all day here today. Plenty of time. And what a beautifully thrown football by Jones. Little stutter step, and he's got his guy beat. He's just got to haul it in. And he's upset with himself. He should be. I mean, he's going to bail him out. Now Wake's going to have outstanding field position. Just got to get this Parker punt off cleanly.
Jesse Bates waits, plus territory at the Duke 44. Parker's kick is wobbly. Bates at the 38. Waiting on some blockers and cannot swing to the outside. Brought down at the 29. Still excellent field position. 37-yard punt. The Deacons are going to take over in Duke territory when we come back. Next week's edition of ACC All Access, the commissioner, John Swofford, will visit with Jeff Fischel. They'll talk about the ACC title game next Saturday night in Uptown Charlotte with high stakes for Clemson and Miami. Check your local listings on your regional sports network. Second time in 3 possessions, Wake started in plus territory. Deacons took a Jones interception in 4 plays later for a touchdown earlier. And now Wolford to work on a slant on first down. And that's Scotty Washington picking up 9 and change against Dylan Singleton in the Blue Devil secondary.
Yeah, they just, you know, they finally get them. You think that these punters, they don't mean a whole heck of a lot to these football teams. My goodness, look at what Dom Maggio did. After Duke finally gets a stop, this Wake Forest offense is rolling. They finally get a stop last time out. They get a 3-and-out, and then Maggio just flips the whole field. And here they are knocking, and it's, you know, showing you right here on third down and short now. Just an offensive machine that's rolling, and here's a free play.
Third and short. Arkeem Byrd falls over the first down line. Byrd playing for the 10th time this year.
Offside, defense number 97. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
So that'll leave Wake Forest an opportunity for 1st and 10 in the CPI security red zone, where the Deacons have already had their 31st touchdown in 48 possessions in this young season. I should say old season. Last regular season game. Byrd again. He missed a couple of ball games, James, but back in the lineup today. Fields makes the first stop of Byrd after a 4-yard run.
You know, they're going so fast, it'd be tough to squeeze in a replay here. Maybe we can. There's an injured player down, but I'd like to take a look at just...
Yeah, Phil Haynes is shaken up, by the way.
You know, here's John Wolford, who things are going well for him. Just watch him just carry out the fake.
just watch, just the burst. He's carries out the fakes, these couple steps, and that's what, as the game goes on, you carry out those fakes. Sometimes you get guys, things are going their way. They got the upper hand in the game. They're a senior, a little bit tired, late in the season. They just kind of like hand it off and just kind of stand there. But if you carry out those fakes, then when he does keep the ball, it just makes things tough. That extra beat on those linebackers that have to focus on him, and they're later, and then so a guy will break it because they're focused on his fake. And sometimes, you'll get him to where they're cheating one way and he'll pop out. But just the little things is what he's always seemed to do, and it's good to see.
Phil Haynes, by the way, able to make it off the field. Keep an eye on his arm here. Watch the arm, left arm. Ooh.
Looked like he got his finger stepped on too.
33rd start of the redshirt junior from Raleigh's career today here in Winston-Salem.
Even the initial landing, 305 pounds down on that wrist. That's
little shovel inside. Serenade can't do much with it. Maybe a yard toward the 10 for Cam Serenade. Second time he's touched the ball. Warren Ruggiero going to the design play a little bit, huh?
Hadn't seen it as much early on this year as you had in years.
Walford to throw. The tight end goes up top and can't hang on. Boy, Kwanzaa has been all over the place. 49. He and number 16 Singleton collapsed right around Serenade as the ball arrived. That's a nice play on both ends.
Absolutely. That's a big, strong tight end. Even harder to get up there and dislodge the ball from his grip. And a great job, too, to not go for the head and draw the flag. So a victory here after the great field position for Wake to start, to just hold to a field goal attempt for the Duke defense.
29-yard try for Weaver, 16 of 19 on the year. And the kick is good. 5:40 to go in the first period. Mike Weaver's 29-yarder. And, of course, the bowling brings us to this week's Toyota Let's Go places, James. Duke trying to join this list, and so is Georgia Tech, who trails 7-0 in Atlanta to rival Georgia here in the first half.
Wow, we saw a couple of those, down there at the bottom of the pack anyway. Virginia, Wake Forest, and Boston College. They're late in the season. We've seen them that say they've battled to go get that win number 6. Wake Forest, it was a couple weeks ago in Syracuse. A nice win, but they had to battle back and forth for. And Adazio, as they made their big late in the season run, we saw the big win for them at UVA.
Louisville, by the way, the lead on Kentucky. BC, the lead on Syracuse. And coming up backfield is Duke on the return. Gets the tight end, Mark Birmingham, Rebecca, who brings it out near the 35. Let's check with you.
Wes, just a quick injury update. Left guard Phil Haynes, who we just saw holding his left arm as he exited the field. The training staff here tells me that it appears to be a sprained elbow. They're evaluating him right now, and they'll have to determine the extent of that, whether he comes back in or not.
All right. Thank you so much.
I swear there at the end it's adding injury to injury. Somebody stepped on his hand, but it was the 305, the initial, and that's what Rebecca's saying. I mean, just 305 pounds coming down on him. I don't care how strong you are and how big that arm is. It's a pretty violent hit.
Jones goes to work. Toss here to the short side. And that is Jamari Williams taking Sean Wilson down after about a yard. James, what did Duke do last week to run the ball on Georgia Tech that Wake has solved here so far today?
Well, the offensive line was firing off. It goes hand in hand with the success they had in the air. And we saw the ramming drop earlier. That's one thing that Duke, very few times there in that 6-game losing streak, was everything clicking. The offensive line's working. The guys are catching passes. They're running the football. But the offensive line was firing off and really owning the pit there, just mashing the guys up front from Georgia Tech.
There's Jones running with it. Daniel Jones is going to have a first down toward midfield.
Number 17.
Maybe the best offensive play on the ground by Duke so far today. 13 yards, and Daniel Jones goes up top trying to hurdle a guy.
Well, last couple weeks, I mean, you go back to that Army game, and even though it was a loss and not a lot of success, you can see where there's realize we've got to get the ball in Daniel Jones' hands on the ground more. 18 times he ran it in that game.
quick throw inside, ramming, slanting from the left side. First down into Wake territory, approaching the Deacon 39 as Jesse Bates the third on the stop.
Well, you'd like to see him go right back to these guys inside there. It's the route underneath Bates, and Bates immediately with the hit, but the damage is done, and this time ramming hangs onto it, even though it's a little bit of a double catch. It's, you just want to see him just lock in that football.
First piece of real offensive momentum for Duke today, James. Wilson trying to get to the outside. And cuts it back for about 4. Demetrius Kemp, who batted the ball away from McKeesey last week of NC State, James, in that thrilling finish here at BB&T Field. Demetrius Kemp, one of those stars, makes the play there.
Well, I mean, look at him right here. Kemp comes up, uses his hands. He's got a would-be blocker on him, but he just shucks him. And he just goes up and he's just refusing to be blocked, uses his hands, comes back under control, makes a nice open field tackle.
Another give. Wilson trying to reroute. Boy, that's a fine play. Shooting through is Masterson, who gained some valuable experience when Jesse Bates was hurt. And he knocks down Wilson for a loss of 1 here.
There he is, going to come from his safety spot. Just on the roll, run blitz, boom, he's there to fill. You know, the confidence, just top to bottom. It's just these guys are making plays. There's confidence, and it becomes contagious when they all start playing well, playing together, and knowing their role. A bunch of playmakers here.
0 for 3 on third down. Jones to the tight end. Daniel Helm, 1st and 10 at the 18.
First and foremost, time. Time for the big man, Daniel Jones, to stand in there and survey, and he's going Helm. You see his eyes the whole time. And right underneath that zone, in the middle of that zone, a nice little hole, gives him a chance to clear it. Boom. Good job by Helm, feeling like he's going to get a big lick in the back to pull it in and secure it.
So Duke into the red zone for the 42nd time this year. Sean Wilson can't get but a yard to the 17. Jabari Williams has been busy. One of the senior linebackers, he and Dawson. Kempa Jr. Jay Salvell, the defensive coordinator, who replaced Mike Elko last spring. Boy, he's got a fantastic unit here, James. They'll lose Ejiofor, of course, but you get Rodney, Yarberry, back, Calhoun, who we saw make the play earlier. Here's Jones in trouble, and Dunn pulls him down back at the 20. Juggled the snap from Austin Davis, and the game was on for Wake Forest.
They're back there in a hurry when you catch the snap cleanly. Snaps a little bit low. Jones has to go down and take his eyes off the defense, off of his receivers. Once he gets those eyes back up, boom, he is done, because Dunn's sitting there waiting on him. Big play here, Wake Forest. Finally, Duke's getting something going offensively. Let's see if they can stiffen one more time.
5 on the line for Wake Forest. Here come the Dukes. Jones got to make a quick throw off the pads of Koppenhaver, the tight end. Chris Calhoun fired in there again. Another one of those younger guys we're talking about.
Just too many guys, way more guys than you can block. They bring the house defensively. Jones able to get it off. And the result Coach Cutcliffe was looking for there after they had a little bit of momentum, but had to settle for a few field goals early in the win over Georgia Tech last week and still able to turn it around and win it.
38-yarder by Parker is good. So a 38-yard field goal gets Duke on the board in the final minute of the first quarter. And it's now a 10-3 ball game here in Winston-Salem.
Kelly Bryant's thrown just 5 interceptions. That's a pretty good job for a guy this point in the season. But I mean, Miami's just finding a way to turn the football over.
Chuck Wade on the return of the Jack Driggers kick out to the 30. And that's where Wake Forest will start. And here is the senior from Jacksonville, John Walford. Man, oh man. You know what? When you take his numbers and you do the old blind resume, I mean, it's hard. Lamar Jackson is having, statistically, James, we were talking about this before the game today. statistically a better year than the year he won the Heisman a year ago. John Wolford's having a year that nobody in the NCAA's having in some respect.
So that said, Lamar Jackson's probably going to be your first team All-ACC quarterback.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
okay.
You're right.
Now let this play go. Right?
Here's a throw looking for Hines. And off the hands of Tabari Hines. Mark Gilbert, the outstanding Blue Devil corner, was there.
So this is your number 2. I mean, it'd be tough to vote him anywhere but number 1 because he's meant so much to his football team. But you're right. When you have better numbers, those crazy numbers is a Heisman Trophy win. There's a nice play. Oh, the late flag's going to come down on Gilbert West. But gosh, from right here on the fly, it looked like an outstanding
Defensive
play.
pass interference, number 28. That's an automatic first down.
But am I missing something? I want you to think. Who else would be the number 2? Okay, that's a good call. He's grabbing on him a little bit. You got to be careful with that backhand. And again, we've talked about
it when the linebacker starts backing up on the. Well, he got him. Yeah,
trying to take care of it. It's tough, man. It's one of the toughest things to do in sports.
You're right.
Cover these guys.
Look at Wolford dialing Bachman again, and Gilbert was there. No flag this time.
Gilbert wanted one that time. It felt like Bachman was pushing off a little bit on him.
Boy, Bachman went crazy in the ball game at Notre Dame, 8 for 116 and a score against the Irish.
Well, didn't he? And that's the game when they lost Dortch and he became the guy. So click on the draw here.
This is Coburn trying to work to the outside. Hard running from Matt Coburn. It'll be 3rd and relatively short. Your point about Jackson Wolford, though. Lamar Jackson gets a lot of resume material built on last year for this year, okay? Now, nationally, he's starting to come back a little in the Heisman race. But this guy right here has had quite a year as he overthrows Serenelli.
Boy, and that right there is uncharacteristic of John Wolford because they were bringing the blitz. He threw it where they vacated, and that's a big play. That's a first down and a whole lot more. You see him, and he knows it. And Gilbert coming off the edge, he went to the right spot. That's what just so many times he gets him in the right play, gets him the ball to the right guys, just off the mark there.
Maggio, who had the 74-yarder. Ramming will signal for and make the fair catch at the 17. Much more reasonable punt by Maggio here, so to speak. 10-3 game with just 2 seconds to go in this first period.
All right, before we were so rudely interrupted by offense and quick strike offense, can we finish it since we're not going to, I mean, who else? Who else can touch John Wolford? And, you know, Lamar Jackson is a different story.
Nobody. Not this year statistically in this league.
Player of the year in the ACC.
That's
Chubb.
Well, I think Bradley Chubb's going to get a tremendous amount of consideration because he's been a tremendous player game in and game out.
Justifiably so. You mentioned it, the linebacker likes voting boss for Heisman and stuff like that.
Inside route, and the catch is made, and that's Aaron Young's first grab. Out to the 35, and that'll take us to the end of the opening 15. Isang Bassi, who's been on a tear for Wake Forest, got the tackle. Well, the Sternad interception led to a Wolford to Hines touchdown. And then we've added field goals on both sides after 15 minutes in Winston-Salem. We go to quarter 2 and a quick check of the Wrangler game summary. You see the rush yards for Duke, just 19 of them, but the Blue Devils have 5 plays of 10 or more yards.
And look at the average field position to start for Wake Forest, midfield. Wrangler.
Britton Brown's coming to the ball game. Play fake from Jones. Checks it back here to the near side. Another catch for Aaron Young. Out to the 43. Oh, Daniel Jones.
You know, it comes to a point to where you talk about quarterbacks having that internal clock in their head. You know, it's receivers as well, and they got to work, come back for them. And there's the shot at the end that Jones takes. He's back over the ball right now. Seems to be okay. You know, good protection up front. But guys got to get open for him, too. And there have been a few times, I'm sure for Daniel Jones, it seems like Wake's playing with 14 guys. the way they've blitzed and still been able to cover.
Whit Brown cannot break away. Jabari Williams, another stop. Rebecca, for the Deeks. Williams off to a great start today at linebacker.
He is. And, you know, I talked to quarterback Daniel Jones this week, and he said, look, we understand the implications of this game, but their mindset is the same as last week. It's 1-0. It is about Wake and Duke, not anything more or what could come of it. They cannot afford to look ahead, obviously.
It's down to 60 minutes of football for Coach Cutt and his 10th squad in Durham. 1 of 5 on third down is Duke. Last week, 5 of 12 against Georgia Tech. They're 9th in the ACC coming into today. Ramming, broken up by Isang Bassi. Now 4th and about 3, and the Blue Devils are going to punt it.
It's across the board in that secondary.
Yeah.
We started the game, Amari Henderson, an outstanding coverage, knocking the ball loose and creating the interception. We saw Jesse Bates, a couple good breaks. One of them he breaks up, and this time it's Bassi. Just a sophomore. Well-coached secondary, very physical.
Jesse Bates the third, the redshirt sophomore, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Returns the punt of Parker. Didn't call for the fair catch, and Chris Taylor unlocked him at the 10.5. 46-yard punt, no return.
I guess it's just the name. You're tough. You don't need a fair catch when your last name is Bates. Right, Wes? Right?
ACC football is brought to you by CPI Security, your local Ford dealer, and by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. The plans you want, you got it. Oh, Brian Piccolo, St. Thomas Aquinas down in South Florida. The quarterback was John Makovic, by the way, James. And there's Piccolo scoring on the dive.
Oh, look at this linesman here. Look, that's taking pride in your job. You don't get that signal anymore, do you?
Not with that kind of enthusiasm. There's Arkeem Byrd. This little RPO to Byrd on first down.
I didn't realize Piccolo was from St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yes, sir.
So that South Florida connection coming up to Wake Forest, Winston-Salem, that's been going on for quite some time then, huh?
You betcha.
A lot of great players that come out of South Florida to come to Wake Forest.
Down to the 17 for Arkeem Byrd. Remember a year ago in our visits with Dave Clausen, he was excited about this young man being redshirted, Arkeem Byrd. He's had some moments this year, backing up Matt Coburn. Well, John Walford turns it upfield. He'll have the first down. People say, why do we say gritty, gutty John Walford? Well, here it is right here.
Well, and it's the decision. It's, you know, it's one thing to be tough and go out there and fly, but it's another thing. You got to make that split-second decision. Now, tuck it, go. Here's my spot. Here's my chance to move the chains.
By the way, he just set the mark for single-season total offense at Wake Forest with the keeper prior to the little sneak here that got a couple yards to the 25. Early in this second period, Dave Clausen looking for what would be career win 111 today. And as Rebecca told you at the top, be historic for Wake Forest in many ways. Little flare, and on the perimeter, here goes Tabari Hines again. What a weapon Hines is becoming, out of bounds at the 31. And you have to imagine, James, the injury to Dortch in the Louisville game sidetracked maybe a little bit of the rhythm they had. Boy, Hines has made up a lot of that ground, hasn't he?
Well, it's really opened up this offense and shown you how many weapons they really have. There's a nice break.
Oh, yeah. Singleton reached in across the intended receiver, Scotty Washington.
Get off the field. Yep, that's a big stand. You know what this game feels eerily similar to last week's game. That Georgia Tech game in the first quarter, in the first half, at halftime it was 20-20, but it felt like Georgia Tech owned that football game.
Yep.
Can't let them hang around.
Ramming going to back up. He'll play it inside the 10 and runs out of room right away. Bachman, the wide receiver on the punt cover unit for Wake Forest, did a great job on a 59-yard punt by Maggio.
Well, we saw it before the break from Duke, and here answering a little bit of their own. Wake Forest, great job covering. Look at them coming down. Look at them all disciplined. Their lanes. Everybody's in their lanes. And then it's a nice open field tackle by Bachman. You know, don't fall for a little bit of that let stutter. Just keep running. He's a receiver, so you know he kind of gets that. What they're trying to do for the little setup, the little kind of casual okey-doke, if you will.
Sean Wilson's come back to work with Daniel Jones, who saw his streak of 204 passes without an interception snapped on the first drive today. Ramming out in the flat and pulled out of bounds. That's Henderson at the 14-yard. By the way, the Duke record was 206 when Jones threw the pick. So we're just too shy of tying that. Second down. Keep it here to the near side. And Grant Dawson blasted him there. Loss of a yard or change on the play.
Former walk-on, local guy. I mean, just the right angle. He's got the pitch man there for him. Daniel Jones, not sure he ever wanted to pitch it because Dawson's just right on him. He goes just a beeline, take away that inside cut, go right through that inside shoulder and drops him. Nice job.
Look at the two teams' third downs. 2 of 11 combined.
They walked up. They bought the house last time. Let's see if they'll bring 5 here again. They do. 6.
Jones loops and too far for T.J. Ranning. Kobe Davis had come into the secondary in the sub packages, and you see Jabari Williams back there at the quarterback again.
Well, and part of the problem, I think, is Duke's receivers are having a tough time getting open on this secondary. So even if they did bring in extra protection, it doesn't matter. They may have a little bit more time for Daniel Jones, but across the board, this Wake defense is playing good assignment football and getting it done right now.
Third time Wake Forest has been 3 and out defensively in the first 6 Duke possessions. Parker's punt fielded by Bates just inside the 40. And we cleared the first couple of guys, but only picks up about 4 on the return. And the Deacons will start off their 43. 10-3 ball game. Second quarter rolls on from beautiful Winston-Salem next. Well, our Toyota tweet of the week, hashtag why not John. The promotion of John Walford for All-ACC, All-America as well, and maybe even for the bronze statue in New York. Brought to you by our great friends at Toyota.
I like it. The residual effect will be around for many years. This hard worker. You know, it's funny, Rebecca, my favorite tweet was a couple weeks ago, though, and it was video of John Walford here at BB&T Field eating Sour Patch Kids after a big play. You remember that?
I do remember that. And guess what? They're on the sidelines again today. He eats them every single game. That's what I've noticed so far.
That's the fuel. The fuel of it.
Hey,
sugar.
Here he goes. The Sour Patch Kids kick it into overdrive. Wow. To the 39 of Duke goes Walford. Singleton the stop for the Blue Devils.
Nothing open down the field, and he's so quick. You know, it's funny. Daniel Jones gets out in the open field, and he's a really good runner. But it's that initial decision and that initial burst is the difference, really, between these two quarterbacks when there is nothing going on down the field.
18-yard run, the sweep to Hines, and Brian Fields having none of it. The Blue Devil corner. 38th career start today for Charlotte's Brian Fields. So first down now becomes 2nd and 12. And Coburn. Boy, the defenses are holding the rope here, James.
Well, Duke, a little bit of a slow start. Walford, he started 4 of 5 through the air. And since then, he's gone 2 of 7.
3rd and long. And again, Coburn can't get it going. Duke does a nice job inside. Trey Hornbuckle there. Well, we saw it last week, the middle of that front with Ramsey and Serenade.
Right.
It's a very good defensive front for Duke, and Demukaji's had a great freshman year. The loss of Humphreys was expected to be very much felt, but Kwanzaa's done a nice job today with Giles Harris.
Absolutely.
So 6 plays and a punt now.
Let's see if Maggio can pin him again for short distance.
Maggio throws it up the chimney. And Wake Forest downs it right around the 1, and the Deacons, another big special teams play, And the long snapper, Dimmel, handed the downing of the punt.
Great job to find it. That first guy down there is taught to get to the goal line and turn your back. This is a shorter punt. It's not going to hang as long as usual. It's a short distance, but they do a fine job finding it, and it's okay if you're in the end zone. It's just that ball in college football. All you have to worry about is that ball. It's never even close. And again, Maggio, we saw a 74-yard punt to flip the field earlier and pin him inside the 5. This time he does it at short range, which you'd like to think any punter can do it. We've already seen Duke, though, in this game. Punt one through the back of the end zone.
Boy, heady play by Dayton Diemel, the long snapper from Hudson, Wisconsin. And Jones just shoves the stack for a couple of yards.
Both these teams, you say Wisconsin, South Florida, that's one thing. When I was at Florida, it was all Floridians. You know, I mean, for me, it was new because I was from Tennessee, but we really didn't have the experience, you know, having a team of kids from all over. Joe Giles Harris is from New York, and Humphreys is from California. I envy these kids, kind of getting to know these different cultures and about different parts of the country.
Well, the ramming out on the perimeter will leave it about 3rd and 3. Interesting possession. Duke still trailing a touchdown. They're 1 of 7 on 3rd down, but this is only 3 to convert. Their average has been close to 9 here in this first half so far. Teague's bringing heat. Jones can't get away from him. They started downhill with Cameron Glenn, the free safety, James.
Glenn came a little bit late. If Jones can get past the blitzing safety Glenn, you see Dawson's going to come through on the blitz, and if Jones can somehow avoid number 2 coming through, which he almost does, and there's Britton Brown, the freshman running back, unable to help his quarterback out, then it would have been off to the races, and you would have gotten to see Daniel Jones running that open field instead of a heck of a play by Cameron Glenn.
Parker from the end zone. Wake's going to get plus field territory again. Boy, Jesse Bates got knocked back. Taylor again, a very nice play on punt cover for Duke at the 43. So the Deacons, leading by 7, will start at Duke's 43 when we continue. Well, at BB&T Field in Winston-Salem, how about our North Myrtle Beach weather forecast, James?
Beautiful day. You know what, weather-wise, we've gotten lucky on the colors. We got you know, Syracuse when the leaves were turning. We've kind of worked our way down, and we've been able to enjoy these beautiful colors. What a beautiful campus, Winston-Salem in all its glory. Fun fact, Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach is named after the sweet myrtle tree, which is native to the area. Just wanted to add to your weather report.
3rd time Wake started in plus territory.
First thing that came up,
I know, Wolford wants to take the shot. Plenty of time. And now the last check is Bachman. Wide open, and Alex Bachman scores. Duke had one chance, and that was Dylan Singleton. John Wolford had a month to cut this loose.
Well, he did, because there's Jim Knowles and David Cutcliffe talking it over. Watch up here. See the confusion? See 2 bodies. It's almost like they're in a zone dog. And one guy's backing out to get in coverage. The other one is supposed to, I'm guessing, come on a blitz. Otherwise, it's a one-man rush. So confusion in a mix-up. Bodies tangled up. Bachman and Wolford taking advantage of it. And all the time in the world for Wolford. And that was just way too easy for Wake Forest.
And Weaver's point after good.
Point after attempt is good by Mike Weaver.
David Cutcliffe and Jim Knowles having a think tank. But it cost the Blue Devils a touchdown. Alex Bachman's in the end zone for the first time since South Bend. Well, John Wolford has thrown multiple touchdown passes now in 6 straight games, which sets a brand new Wake Forest record. The latest 43 yards to Alex Bachman. And it's a 2-touchdown game now. 17-3. All 3 Wake scores have come off drives that originated in plus territory. Sean Wilson on the return. And he'll get to the 23, and that's where Duke will start, James.
Let's go back and take a look at that touchdown. Here's Bachman lined up, and he's going to take him a while to work his way across, but before this snap, early in the snap play, I should say, watch the confusion in here. Watch these guys, one guy. I don't care if you're Deion Sanders. You're not going to be able to hang with somebody for 10 seconds. These receivers running down the field trying to get open. One guy. You know, it's one thing to bring three and to drop them all out, but it's a long day when you do the math. You've got 5 offensive linemen there to block just one guy in a Blue Devil uniform. So hopefully Daniel Jones and company, if you're a Blue Devil fan, can answer now.
Jones tried to come back to ramming, and Bassey broke it up. Boy, cannot say how good a job that first-year defensive coordinator Jay Salville's done with this unit, James.
Well, and it has been, if you will, by Wake standards, what they've done the last few years, a down year defensively. But we've seen them grow in the last few weeks. Yep. They're the secondary especially, they want it more right now than these Duke receivers.
Wilson on the toss. And maybe 3-4 yards. Cameron Glenn angled him out. There is first-year coordinator, came over from Minnesota. Coached some pretty good players with the Gophers of Jerry Kill and Tracy Clays. Duke just 1 for 8 on 3rd down. That makes them 6 of their last 20. Jones in the pocket. Got to get rid of it, and threw it back incomplete before Yarberry and Ejiofor broke him down.
Well, welcome back, Duke Ejiofor. Dave Clawson is pumped on the sidelines for his defense, and he should be. Look at Ejiofor. Refusing to go down as he runs past, and then he's going to flip around and come back and get in on the mix. Yarberry with the sack, but they're glad to have Big 53 back out there.
3 straight 3-and-outs for Duke, and 5 of their 8 possessions here in the first half. And Bates will wait on the punt of Austin Parker. Good looking kick. Jesse Bates drifts back, fumbled it. And to the 25, and then, whoa. Blue Devils got right back down there. Brandon Hill, redshirt freshman from Orangeburg, South Carolina, brought the wood here.
We see some outstanding punt coverage, and we've seen it from some receivers here a time or two. Bachman, and then last time running down and covering by Duke, it was Chris Taylor.
Yeah.
With a nice open field tackle.
Foy White, 1985. Oh, yeah. Foy White. I've heard that name in years. Shoot. Oh, Riley Skinner had all the records. Here's Wolford. Slips it back and looking for Wade, and deflected by Gilbert. Hey, what? Duke has not played badly on defense, James.
No, Gilbert's done a good job. He gets a hand in there, too. Make sure the backside hand, he doesn't rough him up too much to draw the flag. Just bats it down. Good pressure there on Walford, and they've done a good job for the most part of bottling him up. He's flipped out a time or two there.
And it's to Coburn. Yard or 2 to the 27. So back Coburn. And DeMukasey the tackle, and Coburn is slow to get up, and ooh, that doesn't look good at all.
That's your guy right there. He's been fun to watch. Nice lean to him. Both he and Byrd. Coburn and Byrd both averaging over 5 yards a carry here. Careful now with this empty set. Everybody spread out. Wofford can get you in these spots.
Duke's bringing the pressure. Wofford escapes here to the near side and tried to fire it to Arkeen Byrd, but Singleton was there on coverage. So very quickly, 3-and-out goes Wake Forest. That's their first, by the way, of the afternoon in 8 tries. And Dom Maggio, who's had a pretty good afternoon punting the football. Punt it to T.J. Ramming. That is hammered too. Ramming back inside the 10. Over the shoulder catch of it, and he'll skip back up the sideline and go out of bounds near the 18. Man.
Another boomer.
Yep.
Home
62-yard punt that time.
62.
62.
What's one way to take a guy out of his rhythm? The rhythm that Daniel Jones came into this game with after that outstanding second half, especially against Georgia Tech. You stay in his face. You put hits on him even when you're not taking him down the sacks. You put pressure coming from all over the field. They've done a fantastic job here today to really make sure the sophomore quarterback, who finally started to kind of get a good feel and get in the flow, the whole offense, they've really got him in a little bit of a funk right now, and it's going to be key for them to try to get down there and get some points on the board before halftime.
Maggio averaging 54-2 on 5 punts in this first half, and there's one of the better plays of the day for T.J. Ramming, picking up right at 11 yards and a first down.
Well, one thing in that Georgia Tech game too, they started to kind of put the pedal down and speed up the pace a little bit.
Right.
You know, it's really sometimes in this day and age when you don't see it immediately getting up there and snapping it after the ball. It's kind of different feeling.
Jones spins it to Young. What a catch for Aaron Young here in this first half.
The number 8, Aaron Young.
That'll be the third grab for Young in the first half. He came in with just 12 catches on the year, James.
Big fans up in the sunshine enjoying it. What kind of a drive is that from Durham? What is it, Wes?
Oh, hour and a half.
Okay, I know Duke stayed at the same hotel they stay at for their home games last night, even though it's a road game, and bus on down.
Jones tried to go to Young, batted away. Cameron Glenn, maybe? We may have to see. Could have been Suleiman Kamara. He's come on in recent weeks as well. Let's see who gets a paw on this. Glenn.
It was Glenn. Glenn's been very active, and you know, and again, that's something that those defensive linemen, they go over and practice every single day. That mirror technique. You're not going to get to the quarterback, get those hands up. That's a guy coming from his safety spot, coming on the blitz and knowing to motor it down and get up there and just try to get in that lane and get a piece of it.
Little toss, and Britton Brown around the edge. Maybe 5 yards. It'll bring up 3rd and 5. Glenn another tackle. He's Wake's leading tackler coming in at 79. He passed Jesse Bates and Grant Dawson one time, led them together in tackling. But the 79 just 2 stops ahead of Grant Dawson coming in for Cameron Glenn.
Hometown crowd making some noise for their Deeks here on 3rd down.
Duke just 1 of 9 on 3rd down today in the first half. Williams breaks free. Jones got to cut it loose, and open is Britton Brown. The timing on it couldn't have worked out any better for the Blue Devils.
Daniel Jones showing you right here why he can be special. He has to go down. Again, the snap is low. You don't see that, but he has to go down, bend at the waist to get that ball, and as soon as he does come up for air, he's running for his life in just enough time to lay it out there, out in front for Brown to run underneath it. Outstanding play by the quarterback.
35 yards, best play of the day for Duke. Right back down the middle is Helm for the touchdown. And in 2 plays, Duke gets their first touchdown. 35 to Brown, and then 18 to Daniel Helm. How about that, Batesy?
Well, the play before, you don't really call a bust. That's a couple guys just making a play, and they're going to make plays. Here's a bust, and you haven't seen very many busts there this season, and especially in this game by this defense.
Point after's good. 6 plays, 82 yards. Sub 2 minutes on the drive. After 3 straight 3-and-outs, Daniel Jones has thrown his 11th touchdown pass of the year.
They got Helm's going to be lined up here in this wing, the play action, and Dawson looking in the backfield. You've got not only Dawson, but the others too, both with their eyes in the backfield on the running back. and they forget about Helm.
Second touchdown catch of the year for the redshirt junior, Chatham, Illinois' Daniel Helm, and there's a look at Jones.
You know, but Wes, like I was saying earlier, that Georgia Tech game, it's, you know, here it's a 7-point difference, but if they can stay with this score, take it into the halftime locker room. Last week it was 20-20, but it certainly didn't feel that way. It felt like Georgia Tech should have been up by a couple touchdowns. And right now, I mean, it's the same can be said for Wake Forest. They really seem like they've kind of owned this first half. But unless they can get some points on the board right here, it's truly, I mean, one score and it's tied up and it's anybody's game. And then the second half last week.
27th touchdown career pass for Daniel Jones. Ties him for 8th all-time with the former Blue Devil Anthony Dilwig. And here's the kick by Parker, knuckleballed, and that's handled by Chuck Wade Jr., former teammate of Walford's at Bishop Kenny, and Kwanzaa. And then the ball popped loose. Duke says they've got it. Blue Devils act as if they have the football around the 18. Kobe Kwanzaa was in there. And they do have it. How about this, James?
Well, without a doubt, he's not down. He never went down. And Kwanzaa not only strips it, but recovers it as well. Wes, you mentioned Kwanzaa has to step in, the sophomore, for the injured Ben Humphreys. And look at the spot here. We just talked about, wow, if they can keep it, you know, 7-point spread going into the halftime locker room, they got to be feeling pretty good about themselves. And then better yet, how about tying it up? A chance right here.
Britton Brown works with Daniel Jones in the backfield. Jones got 181 yards on 15 of 27 in this first half. Here's the shot, batted in the air, and Jones caught his own deflection, and then it was juggled around, and did Wake come up with it? They did. Is that Demetrius Kemp again?
It is. Well, he was a playmaking machine in the big win over NC State last weekend. We've got officials down. I mean, there's all kinds of craziness. They're
calling this an interception.
All right, so let's, first things first. Ball's batted off the head, actually, it looked like, of Dawson. And the old basketball player Jones. Okay, well, Jones was down, so this ball will stay in the hands of Duke. He catches it, and now he's down, and then he tries to.
Hey, Jones hit the ground with the ball, didn't he?
Yeah.
Tom McCreesh is the replay official upstairs, and he's on the headset with Riley Johnson and, of course, with Greensboro.
Well, the only way that it could stay Wake Forest's ball is if it was still being kind of knocked around off the body parts, where it was never necessarily a dead ball. It's not an incomplete ball. The ball never touches the ground. So here you've got Jones. All right, Jones.
He's on the ground there, and then the ball leaves his hand.
Wow. Okay. I lost the ball there for a second, Wes. So right now he doesn't have the ball.
Well, he has it, but it's moving around.
So he never Wes, he never has control, and he goes to knock it. So if he never has control, it's never a catch. He's not down.
That's right.
And it is Wake Forest football. Well, that's a couple good looks at it, too.
For Lonnie Dale, our director, and this great crew we've been working with all fall. Pretty clean looks, James, from a lot of angles.
And you know what, too? Sometimes you look at the body language, look at the reaction of all these players down there. Everybody wearing a Duke uniform. If he had been down and threw it up to one of his teammates, you know, nobody would have acted with that sense of urgency. I thought we agreed not to mention Lonnie Dale this whole broadcast.
Absolutely not. We had not agreed to that.
Never.
Our great director, Dave Berenger, our producer. Been a real pleasure to work with the men and women covering ACC football this fall. We've got on this crew. Well, here's Riley Johnson.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Interception, first down.
To your point, James, ruling confirmed, which means they too saw what you did and that Jones never had the football.
First glimpse there in the shadows, you know, you think, okay, he's got the ball, he caught it, and now he's going to be down on his back. But if you look right there, he doesn't have the ball. Never has it. You know, it's kind of two guys fighting over it at that point. Just a loose ball that never hits the ground. Had that ball come out of that pile and hit the ground, it would have just been an incompletion. Big play for Wake.
Whoa.
They dodged a bullet earlier. Walford fumbled it and got back on it. Let's see if they make something with it now.
Byrd can't go anywhere. He'll lose at least one. Mike Ramsey pulled around. 99. Matt Coburn, we don't know the extent of it. Saw him come hobbling off, and Byrd, the redshirt freshman from Savannah, has taken over at the running back spot here in the final 2:15. Defense has dominated the half. There have been some big plays both ways, but for the most part, it's been about the guys chasing the football here in the opening 30. Byrd on a little delay, and Giles Harris right there. Maybe 3 to the 21.
Well, Joe Giles Harris doing a good job. Watch him come out of this jump here. Nice angle. Just scrape off the edge. And, you know, even as a sophomore, not running himself up into trouble, getting in the heels of those defensive linemen. Just making a nice, easy play to drop them. There they've got to do it one more time, though, and give their offense a chance to run a little 2-minute-0 now. Bomb pop.
Oh, working the play clock down is John Walford and Wake Forest on third down. Just 1 of 7. Downfield throw for Hines. In traffic. Caught it. Holy smokes. How do you know a guy's feeling it? Right here.
How about the rope to Hines and Saxton? In this double coverage, they've got a man on top, and they've got Saxton underneath. Saxton's in good position. He's got to snap that head around. Never does. The throw is on the money from Walford, and Hines just keeps on making the big plays here for Wake Forest. But
flag down on the incomplete ball for Wade.
5 in the backfield on the offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So Clausen's team lined up wrong here. But another look at the Hines grab.
well, here's Saxton, right in the hip, and he. You know, those eyes, I say those eyes get big on those receivers, and Hines wears that face shield, so maybe you can't see in there in the reflection. Those eyes get big for a reason. Those eyes get big, those hands come up, whip that head around, find that ball, knock it down, intercept it. Saxton was in good position, but unable to take advantage. We're going back the wrong way here with 1:07 left in the first half.
Each school's got 3 timeouts, James. Walford going to cut it loose for Hines again. It's caught, or is it intercepted? Let's see. Mark Gilbert for Chuck Wade. The ball intended for Wade, intercepted by Gilbert.
Wes, this is exactly what I was talking about. The coaching point on that last play was Saxton. Saxton was in the same type of phase there defensively, right in the hip. But Gilbert snap that head around, find the ball, find the football, and then he just out-muscles him for it. He seemed to have it. Does a great job of catching it actually over the shoulder, so tough. And, you know, Chuck Wade, a little bit more of a fight for that football, and it'd be tough not to give it to Wake Forest in that situation.
5th interception of the year for Gilbert, but they're going to look at this.
In that simultaneous situation, it's going to go to the offense, but it's just, you know, the way it ended up with the force from Gilbert to rip it away, and they called it Duke football down on the field. This should stay after they look at it upstairs. Even this should stay Duke football, and 1 minute to go.
Does Wade ever have it?
You know, as Gilbert's knees go down, he seems to have it kind of tucked on that shoulder pad. Then it becomes a little bit of a fight, but then Gilbert ends up ripping it away. Like right now,
yeah.
that looks to me like he's down and it's an interception. But then as the momentum kind of carries him into the body of Wade, I think it stays. I think it's a good call.
Tie goes to the runner now. If it's deemed to be a tie, it goes to the receiver, not the defender.
Right, but I don't know that it becomes a tie until after you can say that Gilbert has the ball and he's down.
Yep.
Now they roll into it, and now it becomes a tie.
5th interception of the year for Mark Gilbert, by the way, who's going to get on some all-ACC ballots this year.
And that's a situation where Wade needs to become the defender and truly rip that ball away. I mean, that ball needs to be then just rake through those wrists and knock it down.
After
and live to play another.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. First down.
5th interception of the year for Gilbert.
One more time, Gilbert. Nice shuck at the line. Watch him whip that head around. Boom. See, the eyes get big. That's exactly what I was talking about. And that's a similar type result as Saxton a few plays before in that situation. So let's see what Jones and company can do. Little 1-minute offense now.
11th possession of Duke's first half and 3 yards for Jones.
You know, it's funny. When Jones gets in a groove, a lot of times it starts with a nice little run. So interesting that they would start with that play call.
Well, the clock is running, and they've got 3 timeouts. Do the Blue Devils.
I'm going to run, separate the team.
Well, I mean, you know, hey, it's you haven't had a ton of success moving the football. You're back down deep in your own territory. Wake's got 3 timeouts sitting there, and you know they use them.
He's going to run it here with Wilson, and that will be the end of the first half. So the clock gets the Blue Devils after just 2 snaps of the interception by Gilbert, and Wake will have the ball to start the second half, and a touchdown lead for the Deacons at 17-10. Interesting first half, dominated by defense. There have been explosion plays both ways here in the opening 30 minutes of play.
These guys, that's a recipe for some fisticuffs right there. 2 teams crossing to go into the locker room at times. Fortunately, nice young men at Duke and Wake here. They're fine and well behaved and off to their.
Well, Rebecca's got Dave Clawson.
That's right. Well, Coach, you said this would be a 4-quarter game coming in. Thoughts on your team's efforts so far?
I mean, the effort's good. I mean, right now on offense, we're not executing. We're not getting the run game going. And this game right now is about special teams and turnovers.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Coach Clawson and Rebecca. Wake Forest leads 17-10 at the break. Our Hardy's ACC halftime report from the studio with Katie, Coach, and Stan coming up next. ACC football is presented by Hardee's, home of the $5 All-Star Meals. ACC football is brought to you by the official corporate champions of the Atlantic Coast Conference, Geico, New York Life, Bojangles, Food Lion, and by Toyota. Well, welcome back to Winston-Salem on the Wake Forest campus. And the Deacons lead by a touchdown. We get ready for the second half kick, and Rebecca's alongside Duke head coach David Cutcliffe.
Coach, you know what's at stake here this afternoon. Your team does too. What was your message to them in the locker room about finishing this game in the second half?
Well, first of all, how fortunate are we that we're just down 7? We can't do any more poor things than what we did in all 3 phases, confusion, and that's on me. Right now, it's on them. We're getting ready to go have some fun. We're getting ready to be a different football team. You're going to see a celebration at the end of this thing 30 minutes from now.
Good luck, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, James, that's exactly what you talked about in the first half. That's what happened last week.
Right, they're in it. You got to be in it to win it. They're in it right now. Same confidence perhaps Pat Nartuzzi had yesterday, his halftime interview. Here are the numbers at halftime. That time of possession, his team has owned it with 18:54. but the confusion, the big plays that they've given up, the Bachman touchdown that we saw there at halftime, and an average start position. Look at that, own 37 for Wake Forest. You got to get down and cover here and make them go the distance.
Byrd is going to let that hit. It bounced into the end zone. Or Chuck Wade, I beg your pardon. Chuck Wade and Alex Bachman were down there. So John Walford, who in the first half had 111 yards and 2 scores on just 8 of 18, James.
Well, and on the ground, he's the leading rusher. Coburn banged up a little bit, had 47 yards, did Walford on the ground, and he had one big miss that comes to mind against Cam Serenay. You hate to point that out with all the good throws that he had. Here he is, the touchdown to Bachman. There's the confusion that you saw. Only one guy ends up rushing there that David Cutcliffe was talking about.
Here's the scary thing. Wake ran 35 plays. 33 of them totaled 99 yards. 2 of them totaled 79. As you see Matt Coburn get started on the ground to start second half and took a big lick there after a run of 8.
Well, he delivers the big lick. Watch him finish this here. Boom.
He and Singleton with a collision there.
You can hear it way up here.
There's the throw and onside, and this is Hines going to work again now. Tabari Hines had the first down and gave it back, James.
Absolutely did. Tried to get a little too cute. This may come back to bite him here if they can't get it on 3rd down and short and shoot. You know, it's hard to argue with the guy that's done nothing but make plays. Hines is going to come up top, and it's a nice looking play. All flow goes the other way. You get him some space and some blocking, but he tried to make too much happen when it wasn't there.
Had the first down by about 2 yards, and now they're 2 yards short. John Walford, a long look to that Deacon bench. Now in trouble. Cannot get away from Giles Harris and Victor Dimukeji. And Wake does go 3 and out.
This defense, sans that big play, continues to play well and stuff up and bottle them up. Giles Harris is getting better every single time out, just a sophomore. He comes down and gobbles them up. Good job, guys, in the rush lanes. And there you go. Hines had the first down, backed it up, trying to make something even bigger happen. Instead, you end up not getting anything on your opening drive in the second half.
3 and out for Duke defensively. Here's Maggio's punt. Another beautiful kick. Ramming at the 19. Hesitates. Now shoots it to the near side. TJ ramming around the edge. And out of bounds in Wake territory at the 48. And all of a sudden, Duke gets the stop, gets a nice punt return. And now looky here. 33 yards on the return.
How about it? Makes a couple guys miss, and then improper angles. We pointed out earlier, both these teams have done such a good job in coverage. Guys staying down in those rush lanes, stay in those rush lanes. You know, when you expect when the first guy down there makes the play time and time again, you kind of get a little bit lax and come out of your lane, and that happened right there, ramming, making them pay. And let's see if this great field position start for the second half. And Daniel Jones can make something of it.
And they hesitate. And ride Sean Wilson for about 3 to the 45. Daniel Jones, who you saw briefly, 181 yards of passing in the first half, James, and that's more than he had in any of the last 3 games for Duke. And maybe he is trending up again, like he did in the second half last week at home. We have the 2 interceptions and the touchdown to Helm, and here goes Jones around the edge, and he'll drive the stack. It'll be 3rd and about a yard at the 39. Dawson and Williams are there for Wake Forest.
See the difference when he has a little full head of steam before he has to really make his move and get going. This is on the fly. How smooth he looks when he turns that corner. It's definitely different from when he has to just put his foot in the ground and go. Oh, it's Ejiofor.
Yeah, it is. Yep, the defensive end, senior redshirt from Houston, who had 29 straight starts before being injured at Syracuse a couple of weeks ago. 23.5 career sacks coming in. Terror a year ago. Came back for his senior campaign. And it's been really plagued by a bum foot.
You know, Wes, it's, you know, hopefully they can get Ejiofor back in there. And Ejiofor's right there in the middle. Right in all that, the thick of the bodies falling down. Yep. There's a 3rd down and short now.
Duke's 2 of 10 on 3rd down. Wilson can't break outside Jabari Williams. Boy, he's been fantastic for Wake Forest today as Williams.
Williams with 8 tackles in the first half alone. Tackle number 9, his first year. You can see, again, patience. It's actually gets a little bit of help from his buddy. That's Glenn, gives him a nice shove in the back to assist. So here's 4 down territory now for Coach Cutcliffe.
Now Jones has quick kicked a little bit from this kind of formation, James. They'll play here. Wake bringing pressure. The throw intercepted. Amari Henderson. Second interception of the year, 3rd of his career. 3rd interception of the day for Daniel Jones.
Well, time there looking Ejiofor's back in the game and back in the face of Jones as he throws it. Wake Forest, and look at Williams just fighting. Even though he got picked up, he drove his blocker. Sean Wilson back into the lap of Daniel Jones. Hey, and you know what? If you're a Duke fan, you can't argue too much with it. Earlier, you had similar type situation. You punted it into the end zone, about a 10-yard difference to start. You took a chance with good coverage there. 3 interceptions now for Jones.
From the 31, and Wofford went big game hunting to Tamari Hines. And Michael Carter, the freshman safety from Douglasville, Georgia, in coverage.
Feet get tangled up there like the no flag call. So 2nd down and 10.
Or Tamari Hines has been off the charts in the last 3 weeks, James. Touchdown today. 3 last Saturday night here against NC State. And really was the guy who helped spark that comeback in the second half at Syracuse. Here's Coburn going to work. Picked up a couple. It'll be 3rd and long. Quanson kind of filling that slot from the Ben Humphreys injury. Makes the play for the Blue Devils.
Nice job stringing it defensively. Don't want Coburn getting his shoulders turned north and south. He brings the load and make a big move on him.
Wofford takes a shot. Bachman held on. Alex Bachman, a touchdown already, and a huge 3rd and long conversion to the Duke 30 there. Brian Fields was right there, and Bachman battled him.
Just give it to him. Isn't that what Mark Richt said that Bobby Bowden used to tell those quarterbacks at Florida State? Just give it to him. And you could almost feel Wofford just giving the ball to Bachman, putting it right there where he could get it. Again, good coverage, but an excellent throw and an excellent catch to move there on 3rd down. Wow,
that was 36 yards, James. Got 3 more on 1st down. And Coburn again working to the left side. And it'll be about 3rd and 4 as Giles Harris wraps up Matt Coburn, a junior from Irmo, South Carolina. Comes in as Wake Forest leading rusher, 11th in the league at about 65 yards a game.
Everybody thought they lost Dortz. Gosh, are they going to be okay offensively? I think they've gotten better since they've lost him. He's a heck of a young player.
Wofford will keep it for a couple. 4th and 2. Demukage and Ramsey off the left side of that Duke front, and John Wofford's hurt. And, do you get rolled up here a little bit?
I think so, you see.
So John Wofford in his final home game. And now Kendall Hinton, redshirt sophomore from Southern Durham High School, who is started at Clemson when Wofford was sidelined. Threw for 200 yards and ran for nearly 100 again in the ball game against the Tigers. But you see the concern here right now is for the Deacon leader, number 10, John Wofford. No guy has been more impactful for his team in the last half of the season than this guy has been for Wake Forest. Timeout on the field. Oh, left foot. Hope he's okay. Back after this. ACC football is brought to you by the Works Hydro Shot, the first portable power cleaner. Ready, aim, clean. Historic Wade Chapel, right in the heart of the campus here in Winston-Salem. They rolled the quad, by the way, just in case you need to know, James, last Saturday night after they beat NC State. That's a Deacon tradition, and boy, unfortunately, John Walford being on the sideline. That's a tough look. 41-yard try for Weaver.
Looks like they're working on that ankle, which is, I hate to see him get hurt, but just grab him up.
Good hold by Maggio, and the kick is good by Weaver. 10-point lead now, 20-10. Second field goal of the day for Mike Weaver.
There's one more look at the leader of this Wake Forest offense. The left ankle you see going to get rolled on there. And, you know, it's funny. They're in the break watching him over there on that training table on the table, them looking at his ankle and look at him, of course, taping it back up. How many times have we seen that? But fortunately for Walford, fortunately for Wake Forest, this season, late in the season, he was banged up early, dealing with some stuff. He's been as healthy as he's been later on in the season. But I mean, we've seen so many times him getting up there on that table just to get kind of patched up so he can go back out there and fight some more. So, well, it's good to see him up and around. Rebecca checking him out.
Right there. Okay.
She's on it.
Come on, Rebecca.
Dr. Capel.
Yeah.
Paging Dr. Capel.
The head trainer just said, look, he just sprained his ankle. We're going to see how he does right now. But they taped right over his shoe. They didn't even try to undo anything. They just more tape.
You know why, right, James? You know why.
Keep that swelling down.
No. Gritty, gutty, John.
The trainer was eating Sour Patch Kids just a moment ago, guys.
Wow.
Everyone needs the little rush.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't even need tape, just needs a few Sour Patch Kids. Get him back out there.
Give John credit. He shares. Teammate. And the kick will go out into the end zone. 25-yard line will be where Duke will start. Well, here's the hold by Maggio. Now, Demo's snap is a little high and tight. Don Maggio, who's punted it off the earth today. Nice hold here, James.
Good job. Going up and getting it. Even gets the laces spun around for his man. Right down the middle, like nothing. So a 10-point lead now for Wake Forest as their quarterback tries to walk off that ankle injury.
Daniel Jones, last two passes have been interceptions, by the way. A little delay, and Britton Brown can't get started. No gain on the play. Zeke Rodney made the play. Okay, Rebecca.
All right, guys. Well, John Wofford's kind of going back and forth assessing that ankle, and I'm pretty sure that this crowd over here is not even watching the game. They're just watching Wofford. I mean, is there a game going on? I don't know. All eyes on Wofford.
10-point lead. Look at the interested observers. Peeking over the bricks here at BB&T Field. That young lady's concerned about 2nd and 10 for Duke. Jones going to take a shot and caught in stride. TJ Ramming. Bates and Henderson on the recovery for Wake Forest, but this is a nice throw.
Two guys over there. Here's the beginning of the play. Little in and out and biting on it, and a good job. Great job to drop it in there. Makes the corner miss, and Bates is there to help, but he's got to have a little help underneath. Falling for the inside cut, and a beautifully thrown football by Daniel Jones. Good job by Ramming to hold on to this one.
41-yard throw. Ramming goes over 2,000 yards in his career. Junior from Powder Springs, Georgia. Duke averaging under 2 yards on the ground. Jones going to try and find something here. And Daniel Jones breaks free for a first down to the 14. Kind of sorted it out on the read option. Jesse Bates got a piece of it.
Clear enough of a hole there for him up front. A great job of fighting and winning that battle. There you see Austin Davis, the center, in there, helping to clear the way. There's a nice big hitter by the quarterback from Duke.
Best run of the day for Duke. Back on the ground with Britton Brown. Maybe 3 yards toward the 11. Carlos Basham, defensive end. And David Cutcliffe, who told Rebecca there'll be a celebration at the end of this one.
Wake didn't get off the field, so there's a flag down.
Free play, and they push it toward the first down mark at the 5, or 4 rather. And Riley Johnson will tell us.
Illegal substitution by the defense. 5-yard penalty, previous spot. Second down.
Long way to go when you do a whole full line change like in hockey, and it's all the way down there near the goal line. They got a long way to run.
Oh, yeah. Basham had no chance of getting off the field.
Yeah. Even if you had a bunch of DBs, I don't think they would have gotten off the field. So still second down with about the same amount of yardage there.
Gray's in the backfield with Wilson and with Jones here. And here's Jones. Shoots it to Noah Gray, who hit the pylon for the touchdown. The freshman Gray, a 6-yard touchdown catch.
Well, they've had success with that second, the offset back. Here's a pistol look with Wilson right behind Jones, and then sneaking that tight end lined up at the fullback spot in the backfield twice here today now on both touchdowns. Against this defense, they've got something there. Extra point coming, and they're within 3 points.
And the try from Parker is good. Daniel Jones, second touchdown pass of the day. This one to Noah Gray. Duke to within 3. Well, ACC basketball already underway, and we'll have a double dip for you next Saturday on your regional sports network. Mike Jaminski and I'll be in Raleigh for NC State, fresh off the win over Arizona, hosting South Carolina State. And then Wake Forest will host Richmond at 4 o'clock on your regional sports network. Chuck Wade on the kick return out to the 25. Kobe Kwanzaa, another play. And here comes John Walford for Wake Forest. Deacons will scrimmage from their 25-yard line. 3-point game, James, and you kind of sense that momentum again, don't you?
If you're a fan of the guys in black out there, it's good to see number 10 trotting back out there after the injury. I mean, it shouldn't surprise anybody at this point in his career, I guess, but let's see what he's got.
Arkeem Byrd in the backfield. Walford wants to throw on first down. Going to take a shot for Bachman again. Couldn't flag that one down with Mark Gilbert in coverage. So it'll be second down and 10. Had no problem posting this throw on the left ankle.
We talked about the young defenders. Look at Gilbert. Gilbert's done a fine job. Again, right there in phase. You got to be careful now that you don't run past. You got to stay truly in that hip pocket in phase and not get in front, because that's where Walford has bitten this Duke secondary a couple times with that back shoulder throw.
Looping it for Washington, who can't hang on against Brian Fields. Dave Clawson thought there should have been a flag. Boy, Brian Fields is a tough cat too now, James.
Absolutely. He gets his hands on the ball. He goes in. They want the flag because Fields, unlike Gilbert there, never snaps that head around. 4 interception returns for touchdowns in his career, Brian Fields. So here's a third down and 10.
Who's the play bigger for here, James?
Well, I think Wake Forest, if nothing else, just to keep that offense that's finally gotten in a little bit of a rhythm off of the field right now.
Geeks 3 of 11 on third down. Here comes the rush. Dimukeji with pressure. Wide open Serenay. And he dives to the 37 for the first down.
Just the great feel for the game. Okay, Walford feels the pressure, so he knows the pressure's there. But he also knows as soon as I snap this head around, Cam Serenay is going to be there waiting for that ball where they vacated, where they came with the blitz. I mean, it's just trusting, and it's being confident, and it's just being a playmaker, just being a football player. And that was a fantastic third down conversion right there.
You know, 2 guys that have kind of battled the last couple of years, Serenay and Walford, paying big dividends for Wake Forest in this late season run. Arkeem Byrd on second and 10 picks up 8. His best run of the day for the redshirt freshman.
stop made by number 44, Joe Miles Harris, and number 49, Toby Cutcliffe.
The Deacons keeping it at tempo here. Byrd will try here, first down and more. Flipped around to the 48-yard line of the Blue Devils. Dylan Singleton, the tackle. Wake into plus territory on the 7-yard run.
This is one thing that Wake has been unable to do, is really kind of get a ground game going with some consistency. Now back-to-back plays where they look pretty good, and they've won the battle inside there in the trenches. Duke's got to make sure they maintain control of that run game. Wolford's bad enough that he can hurt you every now and then. You can't let those backs get rolling. That opens up a whole lot of things.
He'll rip it to Byrd again. Have noticed John Walford's not tried to run with the football since he came back.
Yeah, but I've also noticed that even that first play there, since he did come back, it didn't look like he was favoring it at all when he sets up and throws it. So I think he's okay. He's going to gut it through this game anyway.
And he'll keep it here. About the time we sold off the run, and he'll be ruled down at the 30 before the ball popped out after Michael Carter made the tackle.
Well, right on cue. Nice read. Sees that end crashing down, knows he's going to have some space, and go and get what you can. Doing what he does best. Here they go empty with 5 wide.
Straight drop. And big-time catch by Hines, stepping out of bounds near the first down, just shy of the 19 in front of Fields. Boy, they're throwing it with a ton of confidence, James.
It's just such a quick release. He's got a strong arm. He's got such a quick release, and he makes up his mind. He gets the ball there now.
Looks right. Washington, and boy, he and Fields were hand fighting as they cut it loose. And neither guy could stride for the ball.
No, I think Fields is lucky here. He gives up that inside lane to Scotty Washington. One thing that you can't do, you got to stay inside. And Walford tries to go up top instead of just lining one to him.
Look out. That's Saxton taking Walford down on 3rd and short.
Wow.
Big play by the safety. And now Wake Forest will have to ask Weaver to cover the rest of this after the second sack by the Blue Devils.
3rd down and really short. Walford not expecting Saxton to come on the blitz, and if he did, expecting him to go and bite on that dive. But he wraps him up and drops him. What a big play on a 3rd and short by that defense to hold him to another field goal try.
43 would tie Weaver's longest of the year. And the kick is good. At a 43-yarder at Syracuse. Deacon lead is 6 late in the 3rd. Holiday edition of ACC All Access coming up next week on your regional sports network. Jeff Fischel sits down with Commissioner John Swofford. They'll talk about the football title game in Charlotte with Miami and Clemson set for next Saturday night. Check your local listings for the next edition of ACC All Access. And coming up before too long on the ACC All Access program, ladies and gentlemen, the 4th annual Batesy Awards.
I need the theme song. Could have played that right when you were saying it. Maybe the best ever.
Kick is through the end zone. Duke will scrimmage from its 25, and our Honda Generators power play actually belongs to the Blue Devils on this last touchdown drive, James.
Well, here's the pretty throw to ramming from Daniel Jones. He gets running, and then the touchdown in the corner of the end zone. A nice throw to Gray right on the money, and it's been a couple touchdown throws from Jones to his big guys lined up there in the fullback position. Tight end guys moving them around a little bit, and let's see what they can get going here. Now trailing by 6 after the field goal.
6-point game, and an interesting dynamic starting to take shape here with these 2 old rivals. Ramming hit on the money after a 5-yard throw. Isang Bassi, who had a huge ball game here last Saturday night against the Pack, makes the hit.
Bassi's hurting a little bit watching up here. That right arm. Looks like he'll be all right there this game.
2nd and 5. Wilson gets 3. It'll be 3rd and 2. Masterson, redshirt freshman from Naples, Florida, had 35 stops coming in. Good many of those when he was filling in for Bates during his injury.
You know, you hate to see guys get hurt, but next guy up, if he's mentally ready to go, just he can grow so much.
2 of 11 is Duke. Wilson, first down. Grant Dawson, the tackle at the 41.
What a vision. You know, when we saw the breakout game as a young pup, Sean Wilson against Kansas, all those yards, you knew right then he had great vision. Watch him put his foot in the ground here. Boom, he's going to find it. Boom, go get it. Go get it. Dawson's there to make the stop, but it's down the field and the damage is done. The chains have moved. And I mean, here's Sean Wilson going to play with a little sense of urgency as we've got another dig down.
Jaquez Williams, redshirt freshman from Hinesville, Georgia, is the Wake Forest player shaken up. Well, been an interesting day. Daniel Jones, highs and lows as a redshirt sophomore. It actually kind of typified here today, James.
Well, it's you know, kind of the ongoing theme of this season. There's his first touchdown pass and his second, but it hasn't only been the pretty stuff. It started off early with an interception off the hands of Taylor, his wide receiver. There's another one that you can call it his fault for throwing it low into the hands, and this one is definitely on the quarterback. You know, 3 interceptions, and he's got to take care of it the rest of the way. They're still in this football game, even with some of the hiccups.
Big time throw to Taylor there, and ruled incomplete at the midfield line.
These little things, you know, a couple of these drops, it was, you know, he's trying to turn those shoulders and make something happen before he gets the ball, before he secures it. So 2nd and 10 instead of what, you know, may have been a first down at the very least. 2nd down and 2 or 1. Not gonna be able to hang around long with a team like Wake. You can't put together some crisp drives and focus and bring that ball in.
Out in space, Lloyd. A couple of yards, it's going to be 3rd and long again. Deeks have held Duke to just 3 of 12 on 3rd down. That time Kemp and Jesse Bates the 3rd in the neighborhood. David Cutcliffe's seen plenty of 3rd and longs today, James.
You know, and again, another wholesale change. All fresh bodies in there defensively. You look down there and these guys are just swarming the football. A lot of it is because of the depth now that they have here in Winston-Salem.
Jones trying to find a clean throw out the back door. Wilson, first down. Whoa! And lowers the boom on Kobe Davis to the Wake Forest 40-yard line.
Again, give him a little bit of time. No one there to account for the back and Wilson. And I talk about the sense of urgency, not wanting this to be his last game. Duke trying to get to win number 6. Got 5 on the year, trying to go bowling, and that's a senior.
Look at Wilson, another move in the gap that time. Got around Masterson to make about a 4-yard gain. Dawson finally made the play. Sean Wilson's made a couple guys miss in this possession.
Whereas Daniel Jones, you know, a quarterback naturally, just with the position, they're going to be the leader of your team. Jones, well documented, he's not a talker. He likes to lead with his actions and by example. But Sean Wilson, he is the guy to run his mouth and get those guys fired up. And right now he's barking in their ears, trying to get them going.
And Wilson to the 34. So that'll make it 3rd and 3. Now, James, is Duke running it well enough? And they've struggled to run it most of the day. But are they running it well enough now to get the two-way game going with the throw game?
Well, just something going to where you fear it. To where, you go out there and you don't do anything. And they're not going to fear it. They're making them respect it right now as we go into the 4th quarter. And yes, it can set up quite a bit for Daniel Jones.
Well, Blue Devils have won 4 of the last 5 in the series. Wake had a 12-game win streak prior to those 5. Good ball game. 6-point difference. We go to the final 15 of the regular season. Right after you see this. Well, there you see it through 3/4 of play. Duke's got 330 yards of offense. And the Blue Devils, Daniel Jones, has thrown for 251. And it's 3rd down as we go to quarter 4. 6-point game.
Not one guy in a 3-point stance. They're all walked up.
Jones pulled down by Cameron Glenn, who came from the backside.
This is a fun defense. I'd like to play for this defense. I mean, they mix it up. They come from all over. I wouldn't want to play against it if I was an offensive player. But see them all walked up. You don't know who's coming, who's going to drop out, who do I block? It's so confusing for those offensive linemen.
4th down try. 6-point game. Four receivers and a tight end. Pressure coming, quick throw. Caught, Taylor, inbounds. 10, 5, down at the 1.
We might be in. Stretch that ball out there.
Wow. Amari Henderson got just enough of Taylor to keep him out of the end zone.
4th down, you think you got him. The pressure is there. And what a bullet. I don't even know how it made it through.
Boy, Cameron Glenn almost got it, and Jay Sawville knows it.
I mean, just...
Jones got a little shove from behind. Noah Gray helps his QB into the end zone. And Duke has tied the game on the 2nd play of the 4th period.
And look at the defensive coordinator, Sawville, one more time. I mean, you talk about gut-wrenching. You're going to get off the field. You got them stopped. And Daniel Jones just miracles one through the defender's hands into Taylor's hands. And boom. Now you're looking up at the scoreboard and perhaps trailing 1. Wow.
And Duke leads for the first time today.
Kemp with the pressure coming underneath. Who was that? Glenn underneath, and then Taylor doing the rest, fighting to get it to the goal line. Extra point is good. And how about this? Duke with the lead.
Duke in front for the first time today, 24-23 on Daniel Jones's 3rd touchdown. 2 run, 2 passing, 1 rushing.
Well, here's Glenn, the defender. Keep an eye on him. Go ahead and roll it. Now pause it right here. He can do 1 of 3 things. He can either secure the tackle, try to knock the ball down, or come for the interception. He chose 3. If you're going to go and make that decision, come underneath and try to pick it, you better pick it, because it's not an option to drop him. Man coverage behind him. And it's a big play by Taylor off the gamble by Glenn to try to come underneath.
Wake will play from his 25, and another look at the drive.
And there it is, the second to last play of that drive, rather. You saw Glenn coming underneath, and then Taylor stretching out. I'm still not sure that Taylor didn't get in, but it doesn't matter. One way or another, Duke's in the end zone. It was courtesy of Daniel Jones on the ground, and Duke is on top.
Matt Coburn in the backfield with John Walford as Wake takes over at its 25, and you see the details of Daniel Jones' day. Coburn trying to get to the right side, and the Blue Devils are right there with Serrano.
They've done a pretty good job with a good back in number 22, this Duke defense. Coburn still right at about 30 yards here for the day. Go back to the Louisville, Notre Dame, and Syracuse games. He had almost 500 combined yards.
And there's a sack. Big 99, Mike Ramsey. Redshirt seniors had a big year, and this comes at a very important time on John Walford.
Ramsey and company get some big plays in the win over Georgia Tech last weekend. Dropping Walford here and pushing him back 3rd and 13 now.
The Deacons are 5 of 14 on 3rd down. They're going to run it with Coburn. And he'll be a yard shy of the first down at the 34. Michael Carter, the tackle. Carter seeing action because of the injury to Jeremy McDuffie. Suffered last week in the Georgia Tech game, and that's 3 and out. Wake's going to punt. James, they've had 4 possessions in the second half. 2 have been 3 and out. The other 2 have resulted in field goals from Weaver. And here's Maggio to punt it. Wobbly kick. And it's going to skip out of bounds near the 25. So we get a timeout in Winston-Salem. 12:22 to play, and Duke leads by 1. Well, good one here in Winston. Duke's taking the lead 24-23. It's a big Saturday, especially some of these ACC, SEC games. Georgia's just finished beating Georgia Tech. Louisville's going to beat Kentucky. Florida State's going to get the Gators, it looks like. And BC has beaten Syracuse 193 for A.J. Dillon today.
Look at that Louisville score, 44-17 over their rival.
Yeah.
That's a Louisville team that Wake Forest beat.
Jones for Taylor. Made the catch. Did he get a foot inbounds? No, is the ruling on the field at the 47. He sang Bassey right there for the Deeks. Taylor's shaken up, but this was close.
A couple now have been in the hands of the big man. Got it. Well, you know what? Good job by Bassey. Good job by Bassey. Otherwise, that's probably a catch. Bassey, initially he's beat, doesn't give up, knocks it away.
Left foot was on the line, and then Bassey punched it out as well. Boy, he's had a good year. And Chris Taylor is shaken up in the Wake bench, so a timeout has been asked for here to tend to the redshirt junior from Miramar, Florida. Had 3 catches against Army a couple of weeks ago. Very quiet in the win over Georgia Tech was Taylor. Had 4 catches in the loss on a Friday night to Miami earlier in the campaign. But now today, Taylor's got 3 catches for 53. Get the wind knocked out of him here, James?
I thought maybe it was an ankle. It just landed awkwardly on it. And not sure. You know, well, I've got a chance though, Russ. I just looked down to make sure Salvel, the defensive coordinator for Wake, he coaches the corners, and Lyle Hemphill coaches the safeties. And again, I think it's a very well-coached secondary. You can see. Well, beg your pardon, I got marks on the telestrator there. Sorry about that.
Here's Jones trying to find something in the run game, and nothing. Cameron Glenn, first guy there for the Deacons, Rebecca.
Wes, this defense is back on the field, and they have some new life thanks to number 50, Grant Dawson, the linebacker, one of the vocal leaders on this Wake Forest team. He went down the sidelines after that last Duke touchdown and said, guys, we need juice. We need it here on the sidelines. We need it on the field. He called out some of his teammates and said, it's time to get this thing going.
Wake Forest looking at rare air if they can win today. It would be 4 of their last 5 to close the regular season, but 8 total wins this year for Dave Clawson. Flag down on the throw. Caught. Breaking away. Daniel Helm into Wake territory at the 41. Let's see if it stands. And Riley Johnson, we've got an injured Deacon. That's Jesse
Offsides.
Bates.
Defense number 53. Penalties decline. Results of the play, first down. Injury timeout.
33-yard throw to Daniel Helm, the tight end. Looked like Jones thread the needle here, James.
Absolutely. And on the back end of it, there you see the hands and the concentration with bodies flying in front of them. Kemp's going to come with the big haymaker over the top, trying to force a fumble, but securing the ball at the end of that run, too. But you said it. Just the dart thrown by Jones. In traffic, 2 guys in there, and there you see number 3 coming into the picture, and that's Jesse Bates. He's still down back near the 40-yard line.
Looks like some friendly fire with Cameron Glenn got Jesse Bates, but boy, Cameron Glenn's come within an eyelash now of 2 breakups, if not picks.
But you know, it's one thing. You want your guys playing with confidence. You want your guys expecting to go make the turnover, go make the big play, but you can't give up the big play. You've got to, you know, even if it's coming in and that backhand securing the tackle and trying to rake and knock down the football with the front. But like I said, if you're going to make up your mind that you're going to pick it, you better pick it, or they're going to hit you hard. And they do it one more time there, rolling the dice in the secondary.
Daniel Jones, by the way, his 6th 300-yard or more games, 2nd this year. 2nd time he's done it in consecutive years against Wake Forest. He had a career-high 332 against the Deacs last year. He's going to load for another one. This is Sean Wilson just beyond His outstretched hands with Grant Dawson, the linebacker, trailing.
Well, he tried to put a little bit of air under it for his running back. They had the matchup that they wanted, man-to-man coverage with the linebacker. Dawson's doing all he can to keep underneath it, and this, you know, just being there forces Jones to throw it up there and hope that he's got it right. Just a little bit too much oomph, and Wilson can't get underneath it.
Second in the full 10. Jones with a pump and go with TJ ramming. Tees it up with Isang Bassi and incomplete.
You know, we've talked about Glenn a couple times, and how many double moves have we seen in this game? And the reason is because you look at the tape with Wake Forest, and you see that it's an aggressive bunch. They're ball hawks. They expect to go make these big plays. So sometimes you can use their confidence, you can use their athleticism and eagerness against them. Right. But they've also done a good job of covering those double moves.
Third in the full 10. Duke leads by a point. We're about 4 minutes old here in the fourth. Jones caught in traffic. Koppenhaver, the tight end. Helm, Gray, Koppenhaver. The tight ends are wearing out Wake Forest here today.
Well, it's a big guy throwing the ball. He's up towering above those offensive linemen. He's also throwing it to the guys that are out there competing in the secondary, guys like Koppenhaver, the big bodies, the big targets.
Chris Taylor's come back too now, James.
And speaking of big targets, there's a big guy on the outside in Chris Taylor, wide receiver.
Jones a career high now, 333 yards and looking for more. Trying to elude the pressure, he'll throw it out of bounds, and rightly so. Very smart play. Yarberry was giving chase. Well, David Cutcliffe knows how big this sequence is for his quarterback.
More hit on Jones. How many times has he been dropped? How many sacks, guys? Tom, any sacks on Jones? I know he's been pressured and hit quite a bit. 0 sacks there.
Yeah. Quick throw on the perimeter. Lloyd working the edge, and Henderson finally shoves him out at the 21. 3rd and 3.
Henderson.
Jesse Bates there on the defense there. You know, glad to have him back out there and then back out again after he was just injured here today. He negates the big playmakers on the other team. He did a really good job in that Louisville game against Lamar Jackson. He's banged up though, as a lot of people are this time of year.
Pistol set on 3rd and 3. Britton Brown will not get it. Carlos Basham, the redshirt freshman at defensive end, the tackle. And now Wake Forest will see Zach Harmon come off the field for Duke. He lost his hat and now has taken a knee. And Harmon will have to be tended to there. I think he got raked across the face too when the helmet came off.
Yeah, but
they're a bit of a bloody nose in the process.
So hands to the face, but there was no flag.
Right.
So even though it was the defender's fault that the helmet came off, probably he's still going to have to leave the game for a play.
Yep. So the big fella from Toledo making his 22nd start. He'll come out of the game. He plays that middle with Santos and Austin Davis, and
he gives him a chance to fire him up.
Well, and
there you see right in here.
Oh wow!
He's after him, well after him. So,
boy, did Zeke Rodney escape penalty there for Wake Forest. 4th down and the full 2 for Daniel Jones and the Blue Devils. Play fake. Jones keeps it. Eludes one, dives for the first down at 16. Basham makes the play. Just mobile enough, James.
Yeah, just enough. They had enough bodies inside, too, to make sure he could get out there and roll it on the boot. He's going to tuck it and go, and just enough is all you need in that situation. Not quite the heartbreaker the last time it was 4th down. The big play to Taylor, but still, it hurts nonetheless. This Wake Forest defense is they'll get a fresh set of downs here now.
Give is Brown. Inside the 5, 1st and goal for Duke. Britton Brown, the tandem at the tail of the eye for David Cutcliffe's team. He and Wilson. Brown will get it again. Stretches and scores. And Duke is doing it again, James, in the second half this week.
We'll look at it.
Ball hit the white.
Certainly looks like it hits the right before those knees come down. Ball's across, good call, touchdown.
So Britton Brown, a 4-yard touchdown run. That's his 6th of the year. Try is away. It's an 8-point game.
Big extra point there to make sure that Wake has to go answer, but they also have to go for 2 to tie it up. Second half football, last couple of weeks, these Duke Blue Devils, Britton Brown going down.
Well, you see the Duke comeback here in the second half. They've outscored Wake Forest 21-6, and Batesy add on that effort last Saturday against the Jackets. 44-6 the last 2 weeks in the second half. That's how you build yourself an 8-point lead. And here is Bachman inside the 10, pulled down on the special teams play by Brandon Hill. And here's that last touchdown a moment ago.
Brown and guys winning the battle up front. The defensive front that has played so well here, the front 7 throughout the game for Wake Forest. Back on their heels a little bit now, and here's what they're playing for. Georgia Tech, it's a final. They lost to the Georgia Bulldogs, and so Georgia Tech will sit at that 5 wins on the season. What looked like to be pretty much if they were going bowling, as you know, everybody seemed to think, especially after the way they played in the first half against Duke, but that second half number that we just showed, and here's Hinton.
Yeah, Kendall Hinton, the quarterback now, on this possession for Wake Forest at its 19, and he gets 3 there. The only way Georgia Tech could potentially go, James, is if there aren't enough 6-win teams to fill the card. Hinton on second down. First down for Wake. Big run by Hinton.
This isn't Hinton's first rodeo. You know, we've seen quite a bit of him over the last couple years, and he's an outstanding quarterback as well. And the future after John Walford's on his way.
Hinton will keep it. And Ramsey makes the stop.
Kendall Hinton with the carry.
John Walford limited with the ankle sprain.
Well, and you know, you got to think too, this is probably a package that they wanted to run coming into this game. It's, you know, there's been a couple called keepers for Hinton.
Not much there. Byrd thought he had something going, and
goes to number 5.
Trey Hornbuckle looked like he blew that up.
And just back to that graphic that we showed you a few snaps ago. Remember this? So with Georgia Tech being unable to get 6 wins now, Duke, the last chance to make sure it's a sure deal in the ACC, those on the outside looking in.
3rd and short, Hinton only got a yard. As I was going to say before Hinton broke off the first run, Georgia Tech could qualify through APR if there aren't enough 6-win teams to fill out the bowl card.
Right. Success on the edge, first couple tries for Hinton, but they do a good job of walling it off here and shutting him down. Still out there, now on 4th down.
Hinton stays in the game with Byrd in the backfield. Wants to throw? No. Gonna tuck, took a big shot as he cut it loose, and that was Kwanzaa. And Wake gives it away on downs.
You know, Wes, you've talked about the injury debates and how younger guys have gotten some good experience and they've gotten better. Same can be said about Kwanzaa. Ben Humphries, you hate to lose him. Great leader, vocal leader, too, on that defense. They're in the middle. But Kwanzaa has done nothing but come out and make play after play after play. An excellent job there. Jim Knowles had the fire on, and they all got after Hinton, and he couldn't escape. So a turnover on downs. And now it's a Wake Forest defense that struggled a little bit here, stopping Daniel Jones and company in the second half. But they're going to have to do something now.
Well, Duke playing their 2 best second halves of the year. And Brown on first down gets 2.5. And now as the clock works towards 6 minutes, James, David Cutcliffe and offensive coordinator Zach Roper, they can start to gear it down here a little bit, right?
Absolutely. Let it all tick away. You know, last week, just one of the most unbelievable stats in the win over NC State. Wake Forest certainly didn't need much time to score.
Right.
They hold the ball just over 18 minutes in the entire football game. The quick strike, but Duke has done a fantastic job defensively of shutting them down, especially here in the second half. So they're going to have to find a way to stiff it.
Almost looks like a misprint when you see it. Here's Brown trying to reroute. Well, he lost a step there, back to the 50. Jamari Williams, Cameron Glenn to tackle. Well, now all of a sudden you've slowed it down and found yourself at 3rd and long again. But somehow or another, that man's club has been able to convert 3rd and anything seemingly here in the second half. 4 of 7 in the second half is Duke on 3rd down.
You can't give up the big play. We've seen it a couple times in these situations from Glenn coming underneath, trying to pick it off. Keep them in front of you. Know where they're trying to get. But do not gamble and give up the big play in this situation, or it could be ball game.
Whistles blow. Is that a timeout? It was. So a timeout asked for by David Cutcliffe prior to the 3rd and 7 snap.
Timeout. Duke, first charge to this half.
We're going to step aside. BB&T Field in Winston-Salem. 98th meeting between the Blue Devils and Demon Deacons. ACC College Football is brought to you by North Myrtle Beach. Summer fun is even better in the fall. Find special travel deals at explorenorthmyrtlebeach.com. And by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places. With James Bates, Rebecca Capel, Dave Berenger, our producer, Lonnie Dale, our director, and our incredible ACC football crew, Wes Durham at BB&T Field in the Twin Cities. And we're looking on at the 98th meeting of Wake and Duke. Been kind of an entertaining ball game, hasn't it, Batesy?
Absolutely. a lot of action.
Daniel Jones, 14 of his 24 completions are over 10 yards. This is 3rd and long out of the Blue Devil timeout. And he'll throw here. Ramming, eludes one, and it'll be 4th and about a half yard. Glenn was there, as was Chris Calhoun, to take down TJ Ramming.
Oh, wow, here's a call to make now. Coach Cut over that 50-yard line. He's going for it a lot of times, but in this situation, you give him the short field with 4:20 left now to play.
Here's 2 tight ends, Gray and Copenhaver in the package, and Scott Bracey, a 6'2" wide receivers at the bottom of your screen.
Trying to draw him off sides.
And Wilson gets the yardage. So Sean Wilson to the Wake 40, with TJ Ramming a moment ago.
Number 3 laid out for one earlier, was so upset with himself he couldn't pull it in. But he held on to this one. This was a big play. Just a short while ago to get him down there knocking. Eventually that drive would result in a touchdown.
Yep. That was the first one of the day to Helm. Led to the Helm touchdown of 18 yards.
You know,
I don't know that there's anybody on that Duke team that I would have wanted the ball in his hands more than Sean Wilson on a fourth down to try to help seal this deal.
Daniel Jones can't break away from Jabari Williams and Wendell Dunn. And now Wake Forest with 3 timeouts has got to start managing the clock with 3:19 to go, Little James. Well, a whole half has belonged to the Blue Devils again. Wake has kicked a couple field goals, but Daniel Jones threw to Noah Gray. Hit Chris Taylor on a big play that set up a Jones keeper. Got a little help from Gray there, and then fires one to Daniel Helm here on a big conversion. And that led to Britton Brown scoring.
Well, and Wes, these are all offensive highlights here. But when you're talking second half, you look at the last 2 weeks, and you're talking Georgia Tech, who is rolling right along.
Yep.
You're talking a Wake Forest team who nobody has really been able to stop much of the last few weeks. I mean, we had them a few weeks ago, almost scored 70 points against Syracuse, and do a couple field goals in these 2 games combined. It's a defense that has given their offense an opportunity. Even in the first half of this football game, the defense has played really well.
All right, 2 timeouts left for each school. And Wake will run it, or Wake sees Duke run it again. And that's Sean Wilson back to the almost the point of the original line. He got a yard more, so it'll be 3rd down and 9 coming up. And that defense you're talking about, James, is our Z-Max performance play. Mike Ramsey, big 99's been involved today.
Yeah, look at the middle. Nowhere to run. And then even last time out, Kendall Hinton, the number 2 quarterback, who had a little bit of a flash, got a little something going in the first couple snaps, but then Duke able to regroup and bottle them up on the next couple and get them off the football field. So Dave Clawson, what they do by giving up that 4th down and short, if they can stop them here, they're going to have a chance, of course, to come back and tie this game with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. But now they're forced to chew into those timeouts a little bit, so it'll make it a little bit more interesting. First things first, though, it's 3rd down and 9. You've got to make a play here.
By the way, Florida State has just beaten the Gators. 38-22, the final in Gainesville. I'm sorry to tell you.
Well, that's all right. That's all right.
I know. I know how you are about that game, though. It's a good one.
It's a great rivalry game.
Here is Jones stringing it out, and it'll be 4th down and long now. And let's see if David Cutcliffe winds this down and punches timeout number 2. 4th down and about 7. Might be out of Austin Parker's range as long as 45 against Baylor.
Well, I think you let it go down, and then you'll use that timeout, and you send that punting unit out on the field, or Daniel Jones has got that quick kick in him. You say, wow. Trying to draw him off sides is what he's doing.
Play clock down to 3. And they're going to take the delay and then let Parker punt it. So it'll be 5 yards. Wake can decline, of course, if they want to. Well, another close fit between the Deacons and Blue Devils. And this won't be the first between these 2 schools in 98 meetings. Jim Grove, there's our man.
All right, my man.
Yep, 2006. Oh, it looked like that Duke was going to get a win, setting up. Field goal blocked. Oh, that's right. Game 1, James. That was the first game of the season. Wake won 14-13, and they rode the Bowl School's Riley Skinner all the way to the ACC title that year.
There's our guy, Ted Roof, as well, defensive coordinator now at Georgia Tech. This is a big punt. Can't punt it into the end zone. My goodness. You got to help the team out. And you give them a chance to get down there and make them go the distance. You just give them up 15 free yards.
So now Wake Forest from the 25. 1 timeout and 2:18 left, and in his final home game, is John Walford going to get the ball here? Does it go back to Kendall Hinton?
A lot of pats on the hat, but you don't know if that's sorry you can't go in or if it's go get him. And it looks like go get him for number 10. There aren't many that I would want on my team. Ball in his hands. I don't care what the circumstances. If you need one drive to somehow make it happen, here we go. Hang on tight.
First down throw. Batted in the air, intended for Washington, and Brian Fields, if he turns around quicker, has career interception number 7.
Well, and probably touchdown after the interception number 5 in his career. We're just expecting the timing to be there, and Fields was there instead, so second down and 10 now. One timeout left for Wake Forest.
Pressure coming. Backside throw to Bari Hines, gets out of bounds. It's a gain of 6. Jordan Hayes in coverage. 3rd and 4 for Wake Forest. They're 5 of 16 today. Ramsey lining up as a 0 right across the center. Brian Anderson. Walford loads, shoots it to Bachman. First down to the 37 for Wake Forest. Bachman's had a nice day, James.
Absolutely. He's had a nice backstretch of this season. You mentioned the Notre Dame game when he really broke out. Just keeps on coming. A nice timing there. A couple guys who've thrown caught a lot of balls.
100 seconds to go. The first down throw incomplete. And Walford had to get rid of it because the pressure was coming. That was Singleton who fired through there.
Yeah, Singleton coming late, and I like the play call by Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator. This is not the situation to just change your whole mindset on how you're going to attack this team. It comes late, so all these blockers, they've got their guys picked up, or so they think. A little delay, Singleton with the pressure, and you force the incompletion.
Second down. And almost intercepted. Is intercepted. Mark Gilbert gets his 5th pick of the year.
Great job by the sophomore. Look at him tuck it, pulls it in. They'll look at it, but it's absolutely an interception. He's reading that quarterback the whole time, has a feel for the route they're trying to run on him. To be a youngster there in that secondary, I've been impressed with a lot of the defensive back play here today. A lot of guys over on the Wake Forest side have played well, but 28 has been outstanding as well. Bright future for him as Jones takes the knee.
Yep, Daniel Jones with 90 seconds left, and Wake Forest calls their final timeout. I don't know what's in the water at halftime.
I know it.
But that guy right there went Nostradamus 2 weeks in a row on Rebecca.
Well, he told Rebecca at halftime, coming out of the locker room, he said, I told the team we're lucky to be in this game. They were absolutely in this game. He said, we're going to go have fun. And they certainly did. I mean, winning is fun, isn't it? And playing in a bowl game. And, and taking your seniors. I can't even imagine being a senior and not going and celebrating that season with a bowl trip, because that's what it is. At the end of the day, it's a, you get the gear, you do the festivities and everything, and you get better. Most importantly for the football program, the future, you're better because of it. So this will be win number 6 for the Blue Devils, and what a big one.
And now Duke penalized 5 for an illegal substitution.
By the offense. More than 11 in formation for 3 seconds. 5-yard penalty.
And you know what, James and Rebecca, I remember the conversation we had with Dave Clawson in September, where it really bothered him was that dead period in the month of December, Rebecca, where they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, he said his staff had to deal with him, and it was probably their worst nightmare because he was so bored. He had nothing to do.
Jones will just run around and slide to get the clock moving. It'll be 3rd down with 1:20 to go, and they'll snap this somewhere in the neighborhood of about 50 seconds and change. So Duke's within 70 seconds of putting their name on that bowl eligible list, James.
And I mean, what a start to the season. They start 4-0, and they beat, by the way, a Northwestern team they beat them big time. And it's now a Northwestern team getting ready to play Illinois tonight, which has really struggled. Haven't won a game in the Big Ten. So Northwestern, Pat Fitzgerald's team will probably move to 9-3 at the end of the night. And, you know, kind of back into that rhythm. We had them at Baylor to make it 4-0.
Right.
And they lost 6 in a row. And to flip that around was huge. But to really flip these last 2 games at halftime and to take back the momentum.
Well, if you weren't with us at the half, here's what David Cutcliffe said to Rebecca about his team.
First of all, how fortunate are we that we're just down 7? We can't do any more poor things than what we did in all 3 phases, confusion, and that's on me. Right now, it's on them. We're getting ready to go have some fun. We're getting ready to be a different football team. You're going to see a celebration at the end of this thing 30 minutes from now.
Good luck, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
They're already celebrating
let me tell you
up
what.
in the stands in Section 11.
Let me tell you something, Cut. Whatever it is you're selling out of them water buckets at halftime, you might want to get the patent on it. Jones just simply will take another knee, and that will be that. Duke has now won 5 of the last 6 from Wake Forest. And they have put on a show in the second half of the last 2 ball games in wins over Georgia Tech and here today against Wake Forest, James.
Well, you saw the first person to hug Daniel Jones there was Ben Humphreys. We'll get him healthy here in the offseason. This is the future really seems to be bright, not just for Duke, but really, hey, Wake Forest. Yeah, you're going to lose a couple big ones in John Walford, but I think they've done such a fantastic job recruiting here in Winston-Salem, and we've seen the depth.
Yeah,
we've seen the depth. So these are 2 programs that will, without a doubt, be reckoned with next year and the next few years to come.
Well, the Blue Devils are bowl eligible again. Missed last year, not this year. David Cutcliffe's team going back to the postseason. And today they do it once again with the flair for the dramatic, don't they? My goodness. Duke is an 8-point winner, 31-23, and a nice moment with the head coach and his athletic director, Dr. Kevin White, who's been a busy man here in the last 48 to 72 hours for sure. Seeing basketball and soccer in the postseason and getting a look at his football team today to go to 6 wins. And let's join Rebecca with David Cutcliffe.
Well, guys, here he is just congratulating John Wofford, the quarterback for Wake, in a nice moment. Coach, you're a man of your word. You told me at halftime you guys would be a different team. You're going to go out and have fun and you'd be celebrating, and here you are.
I like the looks of the eyes of our players in the locker room, and I knew we couldn't have played any worse at times than we did in the first half. We corrected a lot of things the second half.
For the last 2 weeks, you guys have had your backs against a wall, and for 2 weeks in a row, your guys have responded. What can you say about their will to win?
We have 21 seniors that are pretty special people that have won a lot of games at Duke. And what I'm so proud of is that team said enough's enough. Well, assistant coaches too, wasn't me, but our football team took care of business.
And what can you say about the play of your defense? Some big plays this afternoon.
Anybody that's watched football knows how good this team is. I can't say enough. Our front, our linebackers, our secondary, we competed every down in this game defensively.
A couple of months ago, early on in the season, you explained what it was like for you last December. You said, oh my goodness, we weren't in a bowl game, recruiting went silent, I had nothing to do, and I can still taste it, that disappointment. This is not the case this year. You'll be busy in December.
I'm looking forward to being busy, and I don't care where it is, but I'm going to be busy.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wes, James.
Rebecca, thanks. Congratulations to David Cutcliffe, his staff, and their team on achieving bowl eligibility with the win here today in Winston-Salem over the Deacons. 31-23. Daniel Jones, a career high, passing 346, James, which gives him, roughly 679 yards of passing in a couple of ball games against the Deacons in his career. And Daniel Jones is downstairs with Rebecca.
Well, Daniel, for the last 2 weeks, it's been a must-win situation for your team. You guys have responded 2 weeks in a row. What was the difference today?
I think we came out of the second half, with some energy and some tempo, and that helped us. You got to give a lot of credit to the defense holding a good offense to 23 points. And, on offense, we were trying to score points, try to score touchdowns, and, we were able to do that better in the second half, and that's what helped us out.
Yeah, for the last 2 weeks, you guys have come out in the second half and just dominated. I got to know, what is Coach Cutcliffe saying to you guys at halftime?
Well, he does a good job of getting us fired up, but, we really came together and, mixed offense, defense, and the kicking game, and that's what pushed us over the edge in the second half.
Today is win number 6 for the Duke Blue Devils. You are bowl-bound. How good does that feel?
Yeah, it feels great, especially after last year. So, we know there's still work to be done. We'll enjoy it tonight, and we're looking forward to a bowl game.
And what can you say about the play of your defense?
Yeah, they played incredible. You got to give a lot of credit to, to the front, to the secondary. Those guys stepped up and played big all day. So, a lot of credit to them, and, we're excited for the bowl game.
You guys have a lot of seniors on this team. What does it say that you're able to go to a bowl game and let them have that extra moment?
Yeah, they've done so much for each one of us individually and, as a team and as a program. So, they deserve everything, and we're glad we're, able to give them one more opportunity.
Congratulations. Go celebrate with your team.
Thank you.
All right, Rebecca, thanks. Thanks to Daniel Jones. Nice moment to finish the regular season of his redshirt sophomore campaign. Highs and lows for Daniel Jones personified throughout the campaign, though, James.
It's funny you say highs and lows, because there's one thing about this quarterback and there's one thing about his head coach.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of extremes, and there's a lot to be said about a guy that's real fiery and is gonna fire and brimstone type speech. But there's also something to be said about a head coach that'll kind of guide his troops and talk it through. Calmer heads prevailing, so to speak. The last couple weekends, they've been down but not out, and their coaches made sure that they've been confident in the second half.
All right, final word from Winston-Salem when we come back. Duke does it again in the second half. 31-23 is the final. Blue Devils join Wake Forest and others as bowl eligible. We're back with a final word right after this.